Happy Monday, degenerates! Welcome back to the Die Hard MMA podcast. It is Big Fight Week, UFC 330. That's what we're here to talk about tonight. We don't call them pay-per-views anymore. It's Big Fight Week around here, all right? That's what it is from now on. Welcome into the show, everybody. Would you look at that? We are rocking the baby blues. We've got the Die Hard Stimmy check on. We're making it 5 weeks in a row. It's officially the best win streak I've had in the last 3 years of gambling on MMA. Can you believe it? Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing in the chat this evening? I am super excited. Last week's card was one of my favorites. Action-packed dumpster diving. You guys know I'm all about it. We got Big Fight Week this week, and of course, because we got that Big Fight Week energy, we got to bring Big Fight Week guest. So I can't wait to talk about this one here with you guys. Shout out the chat. What's up? My man Dream, always in here. Jake, what is up? How about that? My boy Vinzi, Andy G, what is up? Dixon, Cider, The Solution, Colby, rolling in here. Everybody's starting to get going. The numbers are ticking up. We shifted schedules. I know. I do apologize. You guys know I'm extremely strict about when I do my show, but there's a guy I've been wanting to get on this show for a long time, and our schedules don't mesh well. It doesn't work out, and I thought, you know what? It's UFC 330. We're going to make it happen. So we're doing it a couple of hours late, and that's so that we can have my man Narco Cop on the pod this week. Narco, how you doing, buddy?
What's up? Thanks for having me. Thank you for the time switch. Yeah, UFC 330. Here we are. Makhachev versus Garry. Great main event. I'm not so sure about the rest of the card, but I do think there's some good matchups, honestly. You know, I say this all the time. Like, people will shit on a card, right? And we will get like one of the most electrifying cards that week. And then people will say this is the best card ever. And then we get a big time snooze fest, right? So styles makes matchups, and you know, some cards are just undercover really good. And we don't know how this is going to turn out, but I do think there's some good matchups.
Absolutely. This card is, I've made some jokes about it online myself. It looks like it's a bit trash for a pay-per-view, but honestly, when you dig into the fights, man, this should be fun. This should be a fun card. I'm going to apologize to everybody. I see my camera keeps freezing up for some reason. It doesn't look like it's actually like shutting off. It keeps coming back, but that's weird. So I'm going to have to figure that out. I apologize if that bugs anybody else. Tech issues are pissing me off, Narco. I don't know what's going on.
Do you have oh, go ahead, go give him the shout out.
I was just saying, boy, Dan Levy from Half the Battle, he's hanging with us live tonight. What were you saying?
No, you need to get fiber. I don't know if you have it in your area, but man, it's a game changer.
I got fiber. It's not the internet. It's definitely something's going on with my camera.
Okay.
I got a decent one too. Maybe the cord is like going out or something, because
you
only
just
started
froze
doing
right
this
there.
like last week. And it's a good one too. Might be time to upgrade. Damn, hate when that happens. All right, whatever. Let's talk about fights, man. Last week, UFC, like I said, bit of a dumpster diving card. UFC Vegas 120. I profited just a little over a unit, so 1.5, something like that. And that was with me taking a massive swing on Billy Q moving up a weight class. I did 3 units on Billy Q at plus 150. Missed on that. If I had listened to my co-host Wiz last week and just avoided that spot, it would have been a solid night for me. So a little disappointed in myself, but alas, we had one underdog come through again. This is the second or third week in a row where only one singular underdog has hit. I thought it was Dog City last week, Narco. I was like, this is the one. where it finally pendulum's going to swing the other way. We're going to have a bunch of these dogs coming through. Gianni Vasquez looked like he was about to knock out Miles Johns, and then he hit him with the Uno reverse card. I know a lot of people were on Richie Miranda. My guy Manuel Sosa cashed as a decent-sized favorite. I love that kid. I think he's a really fun prospect. I think all of us were on Juliana Miller inside the distance in some way, shape, or fashion. And I was a bit on an island with Jose Montana, which cashed the plus 180 underdog. Felt really good about that one. And, the other one I thought was going to come through was Bruno Lopez, and he just didn't grapple. A guy who got knocked out in his last 2 fights in a row with a huge ground edge just comes out and decides to bang it out and get knocked out for a third time. The fuck was he thinking about, man? My girl Alexia Dainara gets it done. Looks great. We know Amanda Lemos can't defend the takedowns. We executed Darren Elkins. That was sad for everybody. And then, of course, Client's killed. Dude, just handling Mateus Gamrot in round 1 the way he did. I bet him money line. I almost max bet him. I chickened out at the last second. But I bet the KO prop, Narco. I never in my life imagined that he was going to choose to engage in the grappling with Mateus Gamrot. Not only engage, but tap him out. Like, what the hell? Like, I have been on the Gillian Salkilled. I learned my lesson. I bet against him once or twice at the beginning of his run. And I went, okay, I'm wrong. This kid's serious. And even being on the train for like the last 3 fights in a row, I'm still underestimating him. It's nuts. Did you have any thoughts on any of the fights from last week, and how'd you do?
Yeah, I mean, I did well. 1.3 units, I didn't bet a lot, 21% ROI, so it's fine. I only had like 6.5 units invested. Honestly, my reads were like excellent last week. It's just for instance, I had fight doesn't go into Asplin versus Pat fight. 3 knockdowns, a bunch of finishing sequences, it's at almost pick 'em. It was a good bet. I happened to lose that. I had Asplin round 3 where he had him dead to rights. That was.
I was impressed that Pat didn't go down. I thought he'd crumble under the pressure, man. I really did.
Yeah, I think the big mistake was going for the guillotine. Honestly, squeezing his arms out like that. The guy was dead. Just throw shots and finish him. Forget about the guillotine. And I think that was a mistake. But I had some really good money line bets. I mean, Dair, I was kind of confident with. He looked massive, like a massive favorite. And then I was on the opposite side of your bet. I had a unit and a half on CDF. I liked them a lot. I just thought there was a big level difference between the two. And so I had a bet there. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, these favorites, I think it's 30. Pepe put up 34-4 in the last 4 weeks. I mean, that's insane. That is astronomically crazy. As far as favorites coming in. So this reminds me of 2024. Do you remember 2024 when everybody got murdered?
I do. I've kind
of changed my betting style this year, to be honest, and it's been working really good. I'm not forcing dogs this year. I love playing dogs, right? But
yeah,
I feel like the UFC has kind of shifted the way they're like matching these people up, and I feel like there's more squash matches.
For sure. And we see that on this card too. There's definitely a lot more squash matches. The UFC isn't doing a great job of advertising or hyping its fighters up, but they're definitely putting them in winnable fights. That is for sure. And man, I'm glad you said that, because that's something that I've kind of focused on myself. As everybody knows, I've been getting crushed for like 2.5 straight years betting on MMA. I've also tweaked up my style just a little bit, but like you, I hunt the dogs. I do a lot of underdog bets. And I got to tell you, man, this past little run that I've been on, winning 5 weeks in a row, people are like, oh, so what? Like, it's so easy right now. You just parlay the favorites. Bro, I don't parlay the favorites. Like, that's not my style. So I'm actually like even more happy and impressed with myself that on this square is fuck nothing but favorite stretch. That's when my winning streak is happening, because I'm still playing underdogs and I'm managing to scrape out wins. So I'm still happy with the results. Don't get it twisted, you guys. I'm still a dog hunter at heart. It'll come back around. We'll get some dogs barking here one of these days. Gotta shout out Labamasaurus. It says Narco tweeted some shit about Kyler Murray. Apparently he thinks he can't match 2022 Kirk Cousins. Bro, we were talking about this backstage. Narco and I are both long-suffering Vikings fans. We've been going back and forth about this for a minute. And I've got hope. I'm holding out hope that maybe Kyler learns the playbook a little better over the next couple of weeks. Narco's phoned it in. He's done.
I'm honestly done. It's this team, this franchise just driving me nuts.
It's rough. It's tough, but it's all right, guys. We're here to talk about MMA. Real quick, shout out Terry Wells. What's up, Terry? Thank you for being here, my friend. Thank you for the $9.99 dono. He says we back, baby, 5 in a row, and I'm on a heater, so we tipping. And that is what I appreciate, my friend. Thank you so much for spreading the love. As you guys know, the show is supposed to be informational. I'm a terrible gambler, but I tell you what I'm betting. You can tail, you can fade. I hope you get some entertainment out of the show, and I bring in pointing the wrong direction here, somebody far smarter and better at gambling than me to go ahead and make sure you get some real info. First fight of the night at UFC 330, you guys. Jeremiah Wells takes on my man Myktybek Orolbai. First generation upright caveman. He's one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. Narco, I love this dude, Orolbai. He's a grinder. He's tough. He hits hard. It looks like he's decided to stick around at 170 pounds. You know, we thought he was going to drop down to 155. He tried a couple times. The size advantage was great, but he was just too big. It looked like he was killing him to get down there. So he's now stuck at 170. He's on a 3-fight win streak, 5-1. Overall, you know, just that one awful fight with Mateusz Rebecki that cost me an absolute pile the night he decided to go to war with Rebecki and got his eye all swole up. That's the only black mark on his record so far. But frankly, dude's elite. Everywhere you want to look, I love everything about him. He can grapple. He's strong. He's physical. He's got big time power in his hands. And you know, it's funny with the wins coming from Uros Medic. This guy handled Uros Medic. I know it was on short notice, but Uros is top 10 now. So, if that gives you any kind of a standard of where Orolbai should be in the division, I think he's going to move up the chain very, very quickly now that he's decided to stick it out at 170 pounds. And like I said, man, when he lets go of his hands, he's got pop.
More direct as opposed to a looping shot. It goes up the middle this time. That's it, I said.
Just a sickening thud when that thing hits the side of Jack Hermansson's head. One of the wildest knockouts, man. I know he's shinny and he's old, but still, damn. He's taking on Jeremiah Wells, who's 39 years old. Snapped a 2-fight skid with a win over Themba Gorimbo, who's now been cut from the organization. Split decision loss to Max Griffin. And then, of course, that weird fight where he was winning and he got choked out in round 3 by the lanky-ass arms of Carlston Harris. He's given everybody a go, man. He's another just physical mauler. He gets in there and wants to wrestle people, take them down. He's a high-level black belt, so he can submit people. But that kind of got him in trouble a couple of times, too. He's lost a few fights where he's been chasing these subs and he's willing to go to his back. And then he has to bail out and get back up on top and reverse positions and stuff because he puts himself in bad spots trying to find the finish. You know, Themba found his way to top position in round 2 several times because he would just go for it. And then he somehow managed to pull out a win. So I guess good on him, but he's always looking for that finish. And I think that can get him in trouble. Man, I'm not going to lie, Narco. I don't need to spend a ton of time on this one because for me, I'm riding Orolbai any chance I get, especially, you know, part of the reason why I bet against Carlos Diego Ferreira last week, I'm fading these old sons of bitches. We're finally at the point where some of these legends of the game, some of these guys are just starting to fall apart. They're on their way out. Billy Q is apparently shot to bits, unfortunately. But if it wasn't for the fact that he was shot to bits, Carlos was in the perfect spot for him to take over that fight, hit him with a couple big shots. He's exhausted in round 3. 2 years ago, Billy Q would have iced him in the 3rd round of that fight. He just had nothing left in that one. I'm looking for that here too. I know Wells is tough. I know he's durable. Maybe he's not shot to bits. But when you look back at his wins in the UFC so far, it's not a great run. He hasn't beaten anybody that wows me. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's got to be Orolbai for me.
Yeah, I mean, 39 years old. He's going to be 40 this year. Jeremiah Wells. He's a good grappler. You know, he's physically very strong. But what I saw against Themba was very bearish, in my opinion. You know, got taken down multiple times. I think round one, Themba ended up getting them down like 4 to 5 times. And just some of what I saw there, if Themba's doing that to you, and Themba's an okay grappler, he's a good wrestler. I'm not going to say, he's not a good wrestler. He's pretty good, but the physicality between him and Orolbai is a lot different, man. And the amount of chain takedowns or chain wrestling this guy does, Orolbai, it's nonstop. It's literally nonstop for 3 rounds. And then he's physically much heavier on top than a guy like Themba, right? So Wells got his work cut out for him. Maybe he can land some kind of bomb on this guy early because Wells does throw bombs. But outside of that, like, and that's the other thing that I like about Orolbai, right? Like, he's extremely tough. He's extremely durable. I mean, we saw the fight against Rebecca. Who fights with that one eye? I mean, a lot of people are just going to be like, I'm done. Like, that eye was like,
I thought he won the fight. Narco, huh? I thought I scored round 2 and 3 for him. I thought he still won the fight.
I think he lost it, but it was still close. And he fought literally with one eye. I mean, he fought with one eye, so yeah, it's one of those things with Wells where I just think he's too old now, minus 1,000 on Orolbai now, which is, unplayable. Obviously, I don't recommend anybody to parlay these kind of lines, but I think he easily wins here. It's a matter of how in what fashion do you think he wins? Is it a decision? Is it a submission? Or is it a KO? And I kind of lean KO. I don't think he's going to submit Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells is really good. I know he's gotten submitted by, what's the Brazilian? Carlston Harris. But Harris's anaconda is just, it's next level. He's just really, really good and really long with that. So, yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be easily Orolbai. Like you said, set up fight. I'm surprised they put a Philly guy because Wells I think he's the only Philly guy that's fighting on this card, and they're putting him in a spot where it's kind of a setup fight. Yeah.
I mean, it's always pretty telling when you get those guys that kind of run together. They get 2 or 3 of them on every single card. Then they solo one of them. It's like, there's the ritual sacrifice right there. Maybe more interesting to look at the total. It's 1.5 because we got a minus 900 money line. We have 1.5 over is like minus 165. Under 1.5 is about plus 130. Is it crazy to lean over? Like, I know Orolbai can finish him almost any time, but I feel like Wells can be tough enough to hang around. And if we see round 2, I only got to sweat out 2.5 minutes. You know what I mean? I kind of lean over 1.5 on it. Oh, you muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. Here's the thing you need to look at. Yes, we know Chris Curtis is a survivor. He's tough, right? We know all that. But Chris Curtis survived a lot of the wrestling, right? Who do you think is a better grappler, Jeremiah Wells or Chris Curtis, right? It's definitely Jeremiah Wells. He will be able to serve, especially when he's fresh early. I don't think Orolbai is going to be able to finish him early unless it's something on the feet where he hurts him, knocks him out or something. But with being on top or something like that or submitting him, Wells is too good down there. He knows what to do. He's very, very strong when he's fresh. So, yeah, I kind of lean over with you. Yeah, even though it's a huge, huge price tag, you normally don't see minus 1,000s and the over, over under is 1.5 and it's juiced to the over. So I agree with you there.
Well, you and I are seeing this one pretty well alike, man. I do think it's KO more than it's sub as well, just because I trust the submission defense of Jeremiah Wells. And I think Orolbai, if he has the same kind of wrestling success that Themba had, I think he just hammers. You know what I mean? He starts dropping bombs on him. He doesn't mess around looking for anything fancy. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think KO. I lean over 1.5. We'll figure it out, see if there's an opportunity later on. But it's a tough one to bet where that number is. Second fight of the night, guys, we have got Magny taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. I love this fight. Narco, I love this fight so much. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Magny. I have for a long time. We've cashed many, many tickets going into the Magnyverse. And I'm always looking forward to that big comeback, the fraud checks. He's tall, he's lanky, he's long, he knows how to wrestle, and he just kind of wears people out, man. If you get into an extended fight with Magny, you're almost guaranteed to lose it. There was that crazy fight with Jake Matthews where Jake basically finished him. Something weird happens. They decide to restart the fight. They let it go, and Jake adrenaline dumps, and then Neil Magny chokes him out in the third round. You got to feel for Matthews a little bit in that spot. But the story with Neil Magny has always been the submission defense. He's got 14 losses, so he's got a ton of experience. He's 39 years old now. 7 of those losses have come by sub. 6 of those losses have come inside the UFC. And he's getting choked out by, don't get me wrong, it's really good guys. You know, Yaroslav Amosov in his last fight. You've got Gilbert Burns. You know, but back in the day, it was like Rafael dos Anjos got him. It's all these small, little, compact guys, Narco. It's these little guys that he's, trust me, I was a jiu-jitsu guy myself. I got these long-ass, lanky arms. It's a problem. You get these little tanky, short, squat guys, and they get on your chest, and you can't get your underhooks, and there's no room to move. They just smother you. Neil never seems to have been able to figure that shit out. Well, that's Ramiz. I know Ramiz is not like a stellar prospect. He's 13-6. He struggled a little bit. He's 33. So it's not like he's a 28-year-old prospect or something like that. But this guy is a deadly submission artist. And he's working his hands. He's getting better with his striking. He's kind of rounding out his game. But when he gets people on the ground, he's got that like modified guillotine that he hits. It's one of the tightest squeezes you'll ever see. And I just think he'll be able to have enough early success against a guy like Neil Magny that he'll be able to find that sub. I know this is like a pick'em line. I think it's starting to flip to Ramiz being a little bit favored here, but I've been riding on Ramiz for a while, and I'm just going to ride it until the wheels fall off, man. I know he lost his last fight against Puna, and I did lose a pile on that, Narco. It pissed me off because he was winning on the feet. He had Puna hurt on the feet several times, and then he did the switch up the game plan thing where, okay, now I got him hurt. Now I'm going to get him tired. And he got tired. So he engages in the wrestling with a bigger, stronger, more physical man. Bro, just keep kicking him. Like, what? It was such a bad game plan to switch up the grappling halfway through the fight. He ends up losing a decision. I think he can get Neil Magny down, and I don't think Neil can hang with him once it's on the mat. So I like Ramiz, and I actually kind of like him a lot here. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with you again. I mean, I taped this one earlier today, and you know, something you mentioned is Ramiz is he's looked a lot better, especially his striking, man. You go back to watch the Puna fight in round 1. I mean, he was destroying Puna on the feet, man. I think he doubled him up in significant strikes. He was landing very good shots, very good footwork movement, and you know, a lot of the credit is probably to VFS, you know, because he's out there. He's been training out there for a while now, and you could see he's definitely leveled up his game. I do think this is a different Ramiz than people are used to, you know, especially the Themba fight, you know, where he came off a long layoff. He had that neck surgery. He had all these complications with his arm going to sleep and a neck issue, and all of that is kind of behind him, man. He's looked really, even in a loss to Punahele Soriano. Go and look what Punahele Soriano has done of late. You know, go and look at his resume of late. You know, he's got some really good wins. And honestly, that fight against Ramiz was an extremely close fight. Round 2 was the swingy round, right? Because round 1 was clearly Ramiz. Round 3 was clearly Puna Soriano. But round 2 was very, very close. And what messed them up in that round 2 was the one sequence where Punahele hit a switch on him against the cage and kind of got him down, and you know, he kind of lost position because he had Puna's back at the time, and he hit the switch on him, and that sequence kind of got him back on the feet, and he got rocked shortly thereafter, which lost him the round, you know. But at the end of the round, I don't know if you remember, at the end of round 2, he got Puna down and mounted him, but it was like 7 seconds left, and he just didn't have enough time to do anything. If there was 10 more seconds, he probably wins the round with ground and pound, you know? So it was that close for him in that fight. It was inches away, and he lost the fight. But going back to Magny, like, I get this guy is a great veteran. He's got a great gas tank. I get all of that. But when you go back and look at his actual wins, right? We're talking about actual wins. Mike Mallet, he's getting his ass kicked for 14 and a half minutes, right? and he somehow pulls the
Full
fight.
victory.
Alexi dos Santos, again, he's losing the fight, getting taken down, this and that. They stand up, and he finds Dos Santos, and he finishes the fight. And then again with Jake Matthews, getting his ass kicked, submitted, blah, blah, blah. Again, so he's pulling these fights literally out of his rear, right? He's losing all of these fights. And the fights that he's actually losing, though, Clint, he's getting absolutely destroyed, right? Like, and I get they're high-level guys. I get Amasov, I guess Prates, Morales, Gary, Burns, Rachmanov. I get all those guys are high-level. But he's losing to all of these other guys and somehow pulling it out of his butt. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he's going to be able to do that against Ramiz, because one thing that is different with Ramiz and these other guys is the physicality. I do think Ramiz is very, very physical. He's very, very strong. We saw him against Vanderford, who's a very high-level wrestler and is super, super strong. We saw him there, really get up when he was taken down, and then find that little choke, and he hurt Vanderford in that fight. So I like him here. Honestly, I don't think it should be pick him. Magny's 39 years old. He's going to fall off a cliff very, very soon. His chin is very dodgy. I will tell you, do not sleep on KO here for Ramiz. He does throw very hard. I know he only has one KO, but he throws very hard, and he does have power. And I am telling you, Magny's chin is very, very iffy now late in his career.
That's a good call out, man. He really has been showing signs of going through it with his durability. And especially if you guys remember back with the Santiago Ponzinibbio fight, the beating he took in that fight, people were convinced his chin was just dust, like from that point on. So we've all kind of forgotten that he can get knocked out. I think you might be onto something, but either way, money line's good, man. I was going to use Ramiz Brahimaj as my dog of the week, but the line's already flipped. So now he's a short favorite. I can't do it. But that bet's getting locked in as soon as we get off the show, you guys. I'm going to war with my boy Ramiz, and I'm not going to be shy about it either. It's probably going to be a larger bet, maybe bigger than it should be, but I'm flexing a little bit, Narco. I'm feeling good after the win streak, and you and me seeing the fight playing out the same way. I might go for it on this one. Bankroll management is important, people. Bankroll management is very important. Do as I say, and not as I do. All right, guys. Next up, we've got Rafael Tobias, and he's taking on Lucas Fernando. A couple of guys here, Narco, that I completely had to remind myself about. I was like, who the fuck? Most of this card I could talk about without taking notes, but these guys, I was like, Lucas Fernando, to set the table for you here, 13-3, 29 years old. He lost on Dana White's Contender Series to Cesar Almeida back in 2023. If you guys recall, Cesar Almeida, the kickboxer turned MMA fighter, kind of following that Alex Pereira path. He had the win over Alex Pereira. That was kind of the whole thing. They were hoping he'd rise up and maybe push him and get a rematch in the UFC. Didn't work out. Never happened. But after he lost on Dana White's Contender Series, Fernando went on a 4-fight win streak. He's fighting in the LFA. He became the LFA light heavyweight champ. Gets a call up. It's time for him to be here. I liked what I saw in his fight against Cesar Almeida, if I'm being honest with you. He did a good job of wrestling early. He was able to take him down. I mean, Almeida was able to power his way back up to the feet, but there were moments where he got on top of him. He was able to get on mount at one point, but he took the back. He got reversed, though, and so he made some mistakes, and it's to be expected. We knew that Cesar Almeida was serious when he got here. That was 3 years ago. Since then, he looks good. Striking's good, crisp punches, decent variety with his offense, nice jab, big uppercut, chopping calf kicks. I like the way he attacks the body. He won his last fight with just a vicious body shot. That's what dropped his opponent. It was pretty freaking awesome. So he moved up to 205, and it really seems like it's benefited him, Narco. He's technical, he's fast, and the power appears to have translated. I think he's dangerous at this weight class. Rafael Tobias is 14-2. He's just 23 years old. He's from Vale Tudo. He does the Muay Thai thing. He's a BJJ brown belt. He won on Dana White's Contender Series, but he's 0-1 so far in the UFC. He lost to Dair Nurgajai. And I got to tell you, Narco, that just right there, that's the kiss of death for me. I know Dair won his last fight. I think he sucks. I don't think much of Dair Nurgajai at all. Now he's a little better. I got to give him, he's better than I gave him credit for, but I still don't think he's anything to write home about. So losing to that guy, I'm going to hold it against you. This kid's got a solid frame. He's heavy on his feet. He's got that grounded, heavy Muay Thai striking, a good jab, quick counters, pretty heavy hands. Apologies, I'm getting ahead of myself here. And the big thing for me, doesn't move his head at all. We've seen him KO'd before he made it to the UFC level, and it's not good competition. It's like he got caught by a guy that's like 4-3 now. You know, he's got a pretty padded record, and I think he might be one of these guys that, you know, sometimes we see the Brazilian padded records, they get to the UFC, and it's like, oh, you know, he got a padded run, but the coaches knew what they were doing with him. This guy might be a fraud. He might be the padded record that doesn't really pan out. I lean Lucas here, but this is a really sketchy fight, man. What do you make of this fight?
Yeah, I'm mad at myself because I taped this thing last week when Fernando was like minus 230, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to play him. And I waited and waited. I'm like, no one's going to hit him now. I waited, and he's minus 300 now. And it's like, I can't play him now. But I like actually Lucas Fernando a lot. I know him really well from LFA Brazil. He's fought a lot. I've been talking about this Tobias guy, saying how much of a fraud he is, in my opinion. He's fought on that Fight Music show. It's a really fraudulent type of setup, type of organization out there in Brazil. You look at his wins, and they are just atrocious. You know, some of these guys you look at, like Wellington Lopez, for instance, you look, 12-5. This guy might be pretty good, Brazilian. And then you dig into who, this Lopez guy has beat, and it's all trash cans. That's how he got 12 wins. And it's like none of these guys are actually really good that he's facing. The fight that he went to decision against this Paiva guy, he looked awful, this Paiva guy, and somehow he was winning minutes against Tobias. He took down to Tobias. He rocked him in that fight. Just this guy Tobias, I don't even know what he's good at. Like, I really don't know. I mean, I guess he could grapple a little bit, but I don't think he can out-grapple Fernando, to be honest. Like, maybe he can take down Fernando, but I don't think he's going to keep him down. He's going to get right back up. And on the feet, Fernando's really good, man. Very, very clean striker. He's just improved so much over the time. I mean, nasty leg kicks. Just a really good long striker, man. And he moved up to 205. Maybe the weight cut was too much for him, at 185. But I don't see a single a single spot in MMA that Tobias is better than him in. Durability is not better. Cardio is not better. This guy's been 5 rounds. Yeah, I like Fernando quite a bit here. I think he's going to finish this guy, honestly. It could be sub. It could be KO. I know Dair, if you remember, hurt this guy very bad on the feet last time. But yeah, Fernando's a sniper on the feet, man. He's really, really good on the feet. He's going to destroy this guy. I don't really see how Tobias is going to win this fight. Maybe some kind of crazy shot, but even then, Fernando's chin is actually really good. I don't think he's never been knocked out. I mean, the guy has a really good chin too. And the striking is the levels above.
I like it, man. I like it a lot. I think the one thing I was a little nervous about with Tobias is he's just 23. I was like, it looks like he's got most of the pieces, and that's a lot of experience for that age, even if he is crushing cans. That I was like, maybe he'll be way better than I expected. I feel like the UFC is dumping him. You know what I mean? I feel like this is that spot where they're like, all right, like we already saw what we need to know, and he's going to just be a cannon fodder guy. He'll be the new Brinson Hilario in the next couple fights.
What's very important too, Clint? When we're talking about newcomers, like Fernando's a newcomer to the UFC, but what we don't look at is that he's actually fought UFC guys on the regional scene, right?
Yeah.
Cesar Almeida, Bakoyev, a couple of these other guys, like Fabio Aguiar was a guy, a Bellator standout, a guy that was in Bellator for a long time, so he's faced good guys on the regional scene, some really, really good guys, while the other guy is fucking, fighting the janitor and the guy that's putting up the ring and God knows what else.
For sure. I hear you, man. I'm with you. We like the favorite there on that one, you guys, and maybe a finish. Sounds reasonable enough to me. All right, guys, we've already got over 200 of you live here on the show. Please do us a favor. Hit the like button. Get subscribed if you haven't. If you're on socials, share this bad boy out there. Let everybody know we're live because we're talking UFC 330, and we got a lot more to do. Vicente Luque returns, and he's taking on the revived Tresean Gore. What a weird fight, Narco. This is one of those ones that I swear to you, I thought that either Luque would have been dust by now or Gore would have been cut by now. Or like, never thought we were going to end up with this matchup. But here we are. And the craziest part about it is Tresean Gore is favored over Vicente Luque. If you ever told me that Tresean Gore was favored against Vicente Luque, I would have laughed in your face. Like, what are we doing? Gore is 6-4, you guys. He's 32 years old, and he's kind of been the definition of trial by fire. He made it to the UFC at 3-0 off the Ultimate Fighter. A lot of people kept talking about how good he was in the gym, and then the results just never really translated to the UFC. But he is 3-3 in his last 6. He's learning on the job, and he kind of probably saved his career with a massive win in his last fight.
Throwing. Yeah. All this grappling, time wasted in my opinion.
Exactly. That's the guillotine. Last 2 wins have come by guillotine.
He's sleeping. He's asleep.
Oh, that's it.
He's sleeping.
Straight guillotine to his win for Tresean Gore.
This man put Bekhoev in a box, guys. Like, it was supposed to be a squash match, Narco. He was a huge underdog. Bekhoev goes hard early, can't quite get rid of him, and then gasses out, and Gore did what he had to do. 1 minute left on the clock. He chokes him out. He's got that big squeeze. He's really durable. That's kind of been the one thing with Tresean Gore, is he can just take a beating if he needs to. So props to him. Excited to see him get the win. You know, I met him when the UFC was here a couple of years ago, so he's a really nice guy. I've always been rooting for him, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't really have much confidence he was going to make it this far. Vicente Luque, pardon me, 12. Oh my God, what am I doing? Let me try that again. Vicente Luque, 24, 12, and 1. 34 years old. There we go. We got it. Tongue got tied there for a second. 2-5 in his last 7. Losses by finish, except oddly enough, he beat Yoel somehow. It was Yoel's first fight up at 170 pounds. We'll talk about him here in a little bit. It was really weird. Vicente Luque had that thing with like it was like the brain scare. And he just looked like a shell of himself. He didn't want to get hit, which, you know, I wouldn't want to get hit either if you're coming back off of, you know, a surgery and a brain injury and that kind of thing. And I just thought it was over, man. I thought it was over. I was like, okay, they're totally done with this dude. He ends up subbing Themba Gorimbo, and it's like, okay, all right. Like, we're grappling. He's not getting hit in the head. That one at least makes sense. But when he lost to Kevin Holland and Yoel, it's like, okay, it's done. It's over. They gave him Kelvin Gastelum, and I somehow convinced myself that this was a fight for Kelvin Gastelum. I was like, they're doing whatever they can to give Kelvin a win here. They gave him the old, the busted, the brain injured. It was like Michael Bisping all over again. Fast hands Kelvin Gastelum's going to bop him a couple times on the jaw, and that'll be it. He chokes out Kelvin Gastelum. It's like, all right, okay. So Vicente Luque is not ready to go just yet. He's hanging around at 185 pounds. I guess we'll see what happens. I got to respect the effort. But at the end of the day, man, he's been getting lit up by his last couple of opponents. And Kelvin didn't do much. But Kelvin, we know, also can't really grapple. Tresean Gore is just built like a brick shit house. He's a tank at this weight class. If Vicente can't grapple with him, like, this is the one I'm worried what I thought was going to happen with Kelvin will happen here. And he's just going to get cracked by Tresean. And it'll be like a Darren Elkins sad moment where he's just not able to take it. You know what I mean? I kind of hate it, but I'm considering betting Tresean Gore. Talk me out of it, Narco. I don't want to do this to myself.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing with Luque. You go back and watch the Buckley fight, and he like absolutely quit right on bottom. Like, let's call it what it was. You know, he quit in that fight. He came back, and they gave him Gorimbo. And, you know, he really didn't absorb anything. It was a quick front choke. You know, Gorimbo, I think, got rocked or something on the feet, and then he shoots right into that front choke and gets submitted. But the fight after that, Holland pretty much made it look easy against him. And then after that, this is the more concerning one is, I understand Joel Alvarez is a good fighter, all of that. But round 1, he's doing okay. He's competing, probably still lost a round. And then round 2 comes around and he gets hit like once or twice. And then he shoots and pulls guard and just literally stays on bottom doing nothing, man, but shelling up, like literally just shelling up for like 4 minutes of that round. Then round 3 comes around. He shoots an ugly takedown again, right on his back again. And he's in like a reverse triangle and just sits there while this guy's just punching him lightly. I think Joel Alvarez honestly felt bad for this guy. Like, it was so weird. He didn't even like try to finish him in round 3. And that was like another quit job, to be honest. And then now you look at the Gastelum fight. And quite honestly, if you look at the beginning of the fight, he's backing up. Gastelum is tagging him up, right? Why the hell are you shooting for a takedown, Mr. Gastelum? Anyways, he gets caught, and Gastelum gets caught with an uppercut, right? And he gets dropped. And then he gets put in the front choke, and it's like Gastelum doesn't even give a shit. Is not fighting hands. He's like lackadaisical and just gets subbed. It was so weird.
It was another quit job just on the other side.
Gastelum is not an 85er. He doesn't take training seriously. Let's call it what it is. Honestly, the big difference in this fight, and it's a huge difference. I don't care about the guy has way more fights. We can talk about all that, right? We understand Luque is a veteran, all this stuff. But the durability edge in this fight is night and day. Okay, we got a guy that's fighting through fire. Absolute, like, he got dropped very bad against Makhachev, fought through it, came back in that round, dug deep, dug really deep in that fight, and won the fight. It's a guy that I believe has kind of turned his career around, honestly. A guy that's probably taken a lot more serious. He said it prior to the fight, prior to the Makhachev fight. He said, I've changed my life. I'm, all this other stuff. And I didn't want to believe it, to be honest. Every fighter says this. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah, you change your life, blah, blah, blah. We've heard this from everybody. But honestly, that was a different Tresean Gore. Like, yes, he got hurt, but he was competing on the feet. He was getting up when taken down, reversing positions, tagging up Makhachev. And the cardio is what impressed me, Clint. That was an absolute war, and he had great cardio in round 3. So I'm going to take the guy that just wants it more at this point. We got one guy that's quitting, guys. He's quitting in fights while the other guy is fighting through fire, right? So for me, I'm going to take the guy that's fighting through fire. I'm going to take the younger guy. I'm going to take the guy that didn't have a brain bleed, in his career. I just don't think Luque wants to take those chances where he's getting beat up, That's what's happening. He's getting hit a couple times. Maybe he's getting shaken up and he's like, screw this. Let me shoot. Let me pull guard. Let me just cover up, right? I just feel like it's a mental thing at this point too, because going through something that he did, he almost died. Mm-hmm. It's not an easy thing to come back and fight. So yeah, I like Tresean Gore here. I'm with you, man. Like, there's a big difference in durability. And maybe Luque can hurt him and maybe get a club and sub. I don't think Luque can. I don't know if he can take down Gore, honestly. Gore's takedown defense is incredible. Very, very hard to take down. So I think he's sporting like a 90% takedown defense, So
is he really?
He has a really good, I don't know. I'm saying it off the top of my head, but I know it's very high.
I didn't even bother looking at it for this
upwards of 70. I will say that for sure.
83.
There you go.
83% takedown defense. Holy shit.
Really good takedown defense. Yes. And the other thing you have to think about is this is at 185, man. And this is not Calvin Gastelum. Calvin Gastelum is not a 85er. This is a real 85er. This is a strong 85er, and he's an athletic 85er. So I don't think this fight's good honestly, for Luque. I really don't, because I don't think he can use his grappling here. And if you can't use his grappling, I know his striking is good, but I don't think he can take shots. And Gore hits hard. I know he doesn't have a lot of knockouts, but he hits hard.
He does. He hurts a lot of people. You see it even in the fights that he loses. He rocks people.
He rocked what's the Brazilian dude from Shootbox? He rocked a couple of the one that knocked him out. He rocked him pretty bad in that fight.
Yeah. Let's see here. Tricoli. Is that who we're talking about?
Marco Tulio.
Oh, Marco Tulio. I'm sorry. Tricoli was the guy he choked out. You're right.
Yeah.
Marco Tulio. Dude, Narco, you didn't talk me out of it. If anything, you talked me into it.
I can't talk you out of it, honestly. I like that side too. I haven't bet it, but I like that side.
Well, it might be good that you didn't bet it yet because he was minus 155 before we started the show. He's minus 130 now. So money is coming in on Vicente Luque. And I will tell you guys, this one feels a little like wolf tickets to me, Narco. You dangle the guy out there that people like, and he looked good his last fight, but he's old, and they're giving you extra plus money. It's that come on in, the water's fine type of look to me here. So I'm going to sit tight. We'll see if we can get minus 115. We'll see if we can get minus 120. I'm just going to give it a minute. If it bounces back up to minus 135 or minus 140, I think I'll jump in. But if it keeps going down, we'll just play the patient game. It's old Yeller season, Narco. We're gonna take these old fighters out back. That's what we're doing. All right, everybody. Next fight up, we've got Donte Lockjaw Johnson, and he's taking on Eric McConico. As you guys know, big Lockjaw fans. He's a Spectation Sports fighter, so definitely somebody that we are rooting for. I found it interesting, Narco. They actually featured him on Embedded this week, which I was not expecting. They had his coach interviewing about him, and he was sparring with Sean Strickland and with Chris Curtis in the background. And the coach compared him and his athleticism and his power to Mike Tyson. And that's a little crazy. Yeah, he hits hard though. He's 27 years old, 6 of his 8 wins coming by knockout, all in the first round. He struggled a little bit so far in the UFC, but let's be real. He was 6-0 when he got here. So he still has essentially no experience. And his entire professional career took place in the space of about 2 rounds. So he gets Cedric Dumas and makes him quit. Got the first sub of his career. I never saw it coming. I knew Dumas was going to quit, but I never saw the sub coming. He took the opportunity to go ahead and get that one. The Cody Brundage fight worried me just a little bit because it was a little back and forth. It did go to a split, but we were dealing with motivated Cody Brundage, a Cody that really believed in himself that night. And they had some good wrestling exchanges, but Donte showed that he could extend the fight and he wasn't going to gas out. When he's at his best, though, man, he's nuking people.
By a 41-year-old opponent who hadn't fought in 6 years, but he came back to win. As Johnson connects with the left hand and does so again.
And finished it. He's finished it. Not only did he win, he finished it. These guys are throwing.
Yeah, that's hard. And here comes Johnson. He got him.
Fight back.
Stop change. With another first-round finish here in
the way he winds up on those shots and just the way he gets that whole back into it. This dude swings for the fences. And, his opponent, Eric McConico, he's 2-2 in the UFC. He's 36 years old. Narco, honestly, I bet against him every single time he stepped foot in the octagon. I know he's well-rounded. I know he trains at the lab. And some of you guys who are, again, sharper than me, you guys have made some money on him, and I get it. But, I just don't believe in this guy. He's been knocked out 4 times. He's fragile. And I thought he was going to get knocked out by Cody Brundage, when he fought him. He's been knocked out by Nursultan Rozaboev and Bankser Sursurkayev. So it's okay, maybe I should give him a little bit more credit for taking Bankser to the 3rd round the way he did. But people try to convince me that he's actually good. And I'm like, nah, I refuse. I'm not believing it. He's pretty well-rounded. Okay. I'll give him his flowers. He's pretty well-rounded, but he's going to be cannon fodder at the UFC level. He's a little too old. He's a little too fragile. He's going to push these guys. He's going to give them some rounds, but I also think he's just got an off switch, Narco. I really feel like if you hit him hard enough in the right spot, we've seen him just freeze up when he gets touched the wrong way. I like Donte Johnson this week in a big way. I think he stays undefeated. I think he knocks this dude out. I've said it again. All 4 fights. I've called the knockout, all 4 fights. I'm 2-2. You can't hold it against me. But I think Donte Johnson's going to win this one. I do think he'll find the button on McConico, and I do think he'll knock him out at some point. He's minus 220 at this point. I don't love the money line just because, again, skill for skill, like Eric probably is the slightly better fighter. But as we've seen in fighting before, you guys, Dricus du Plessis is a shining example. You don't have to be the better fighter to win sometimes. I think this dude's going to beast his way to a win.
Yeah, man. I think they're giving you a discount, honestly, on Donte Johnson after his last fight. The fight against Cody, he rushes in round one, like completely, zero fight IQ type of move, like where he rushes into a big like telegraph shot and immediately gets taken down and is on bottom. And the concern for me there was like he just didn't know what to do. Like he wasn't doing anything but like laying on his back and kind of having one underhook on one side while he controls the other arm for Cody so he doesn't land ground and pound. And Cody didn't really land anything on top. But it's like, dude, you need to try to get up. You need to do something. Like you're losing this round just laying on bottom for like 4 minutes. It was a real concern because we've never really seen him on bottom like that, on flat on his back, and he just didn't look good, down there. On the feet, like the guy is just super explosive, super athletic, very, very fast. By the way, the highlight you showed, Clint, that was at heavyweight in that Dana White's Contender Series fight. That was a big dude that he knocked out. I mean, Darren Abbey, he's doesn't have the best chin, but that's a 6'6" dude that's like 240 or something, Like, I don't even know what Donte Johnson weighed in for that fight, but I remember it was like barely heavyweight limit, like almost light heavyweight. Johnson's super explosive. I like the move. I really like the move to Extreme Couture. That's where he's training now. I don't really like his coach, Justin James, who's a little wacko. I listened to an interview with him and Justin James. Holy moly. I mean, this guy, Justin James, like, I don't know if he was on something, but it was a pretty crazy interview. He's yelling at his daughter, get out of here. He's like going crazy on the interview.
Like former fighter Justin James?
Yes. And he's the former guy that got popped for cocaine in the fight where he won a fight.
If you guys don't recall, he's the one that bet his entire purse on himself too. Before they outlawed the gambling, he was like, "I'm all in, I'm on me."
The funny story is recently he got a win. I don't remember how long ago, like a year and a half ago, and he popped. They took away his win because he popped for cocaine.
Oh my god. Just
hilarious. But I guess he's a coach at Extreme Couture, and I didn't even know that. And he kind of took Donte Johnson under his wing, and Donte Johnson, from everything I've read and heard at Extreme and guys talking about him, he's like a sponge. They're talking about how good he is, how athletic he is. He's sparring a lot with Strickland. I think this is a buy low spot, and here's the reason. When you look at a guy like McConico, he's fighting guys like Vieira, and I played him there, by the way, Clint, as a huge dog. I played him against Vieira because I knew his takedown defense is pretty damn good. And I'm like, on the feet, he's going to be a little bit more technical than Vieira, and he's going to land on him. So I played him there at big dog odds. Right?
I'm an embarrassed Vieira fan these days, Narco.
The thing that with me is, like, you watch every single fight of his, and he's getting hurt in every single fight. Vieira hurt him very bad in round one, almost finished him. Cody Brundage hurt him 2 times in that fight. The big difference is Donte Johnson can take shots, man, and he can take shots and come forward, and he swings big, and that's going to be a very big issue. Normally, McConico is kind of like the more athletic guy, right, in the ring. He's not the more athletic guy right now in this ring. The issue I have with Donte a little bit is he's kind of small, even at middleweight. This guy is coming in at like 5'8", 5'9". He's a very, very small guy as far as height is considered. He's going to be facing guys that are, 6'3", 6'4", at middleweight. It's going to be tough.
He's all back.
He's all back, and he's built like a brick house. And yeah, I just think he's going to knock out. Honestly, I think he's going to knock out Eric McConico. McConico is up there in age as well. He's not young. He's 35, 36 years old. Mm-hmm. Like I said, his chin is not very good, even from the regional scene. So I think we're getting a discount, honestly. Johnson's been like minus 900, minus 600, something like that. And now we're getting a playable number of minus 215 against. And I know he didn't look great last fight. He didn't look great against Brundage.
I think that's why. A split decision with Cody Brundage is doing the damage.
And listen, he gave up round 1 the way I said he gave up round 1. Brundage took him down on top. I don't think that's happening again. He's got a better camp. And he won rounds 2 and 3 to me. He got hit a little bit in round 3, but I still think he landed the bigger shots. And, yeah, I just think he's more athletic than McConico. He hits harder than McConico, and he's way more durable than McConico. So I'm going to go with Johnson here. I like him in this spot. I haven't played him again, but I think we're getting – hopefully this line keeps coming in and people are like, okay, maybe he gets to like 180, and then I'll be happy. I will play him.
Yeah, I'll be confused again, Narco. You can always count on people believing in Eric McConico. I don't get it, but people seem to. So, all right, we'll see how low this number gets. Hey, we talked about it at the top of the show, you guys. Underdogs are pretty scarce right now in the UFC. The matchmaking kind of dictates that. We like a couple of these favorites here so far. Hopefully we can find somebody barking for you here a little bit later. Saw a couple legends in the chat earlier as well. Pepe joining us. Wheezy in the house as well. Thank you guys very much for hanging out with us while we break down this fight card. Next up, we've got Jalin Turner making his second appearance since he came back to the UFC. And he's taking on Kauê Fernandes. This is a really intriguing fight, man. I like this fight, and I like it a lot. I was the biggest Jalin Turner guy before he left. I was absolutely, unequivocally the biggest Jalin Turner guy, and I bet him every which way. I was parlaying him. We were going inside the distance. We were betting his sub props. Like, we made a killing for a while there on Jalin Turner's rise. And then he got to the level of contender, and it felt like a couple of guys really just took it out of him. He got to that blood and guts stage. Lightweight was ruled by guys like Dustin Poirier and Eddie Alvarez back then. So he runs into Dan Hooker, gets beaten within an inch of his life, and I think that changed him to some extent, man. I mean, I know he almost killed Bobby Green in his next fight, but then Moicano beat the brakes off of him, and I think he was just kind of a broken man heading into the Ignacio Bahamondes fight. And taking a little time off, getting refreshed, coming back, he looked really, really good when he came back.
Body language looks terrible.
I like how calm and smooth Jalin is being. He's not rushing anything. He knows he's got Edson hurt, but he's taking his time, being real technical. Nice left hook.
Yeah, this over,
right in front of us.
This over.
Yeah, that's it.
Barboza goes down. Jalin Turner back in a big way tonight.
I mean, just methodical, man. He busted him open with an elbow that had him bleeding all over the place, and then just never left him off the hook. Now, I know that's a massive step down in competition. It's old-ass Edson Barboza. It's not the contenders or anything like that again. But, go back to that Dan Hooker fight. He almost killed him in the first round, Narco. I don't know if you remember that. He hit Dan Hooker with the head kick from hell that to this day, I don't know how he recovered. And I also think, if memory serves me correctly, I believe Dan Hooker released x-rays where his ribs were shattered or some shit after that fight. Jalin beat him within an inch of his life, and Hooker just said, fuck this shit, I'm not losing. So it was one of those nights for him, unfortunately. Jalin is good everywhere, you guys. He's a size bully. He's huge. He hits like a truck. He's well muscled. And then once you get close to him, he's a serious submission threat. This guy is nasty on the ground with his chokes. So you've got to watch for the club and sub as well. If you're going to level change on this guy, you are not safe by any stretch of the imagination. Kauê Fernandes, he's 11-2. He's 31 years old. He's fighting out of Nova União, and he's 3-0 in his last 3 fights. He is 3-1 overall in the UFC. Lost his UFC debut via split decision against Mark Diakaze all the way back in 2023. If you guys recall, this is the man who made Harry Hardwick get wheeled out of the UFC. I mean, literally, they put him in a wheelchair to get him out of the cage because he beat the shit out of his legs. It was so bad that Herb Dean had to step in with a mercy stoppage. Harry couldn't stand you guys. Oh shit, I got the clip. I forgot. I got the clip.
He knows nothing more than grit and determination.
And of course, we know, get him thinking about the calves and then come up high.
Couple of big hard shots. Oh, he chops him down like a Brazilian lumberjack. Can Hardwick make it? That's it. It is over. Yeah.
Herb was letting him get back up, Narco. It was like, Herb Dean, what are you doing? This man's been done for 10 minutes. And he still was like giving him the chance to stand back up. It was awful. Anyway, he's got a long, lanky build. He's got that karate style with that lead hand. He kicks like a mule. That's really the big thing. He hurts people all over the place with his kicks. He always attacks that low calf. Very explosive when he launches himself in. He did beat Guram Kututaladze. I'm still not sure what that means, Narco. Guram's one of those guys where on his best night, he'll like take a champion to the limit. And then on his worst night, he'll lose a split decision to a guy rolling off the couch. So I'm not sure if that means Kauê's really good or not, but he's got a 76% takedown defense. I like his overall process. This is a really interesting fight to me. I lean ever so slightly with my boy Jalin Turner. He's about a -160 favorite in this spot right here. I feel like he's just got more back class at this point. You know, Kauê has yet to be tested. Jalin Turner has been through the meat grinder in this weight class and chose to come back for seconds. God knows why. He's still 31. You know, he's still in his prime. He's not shot. He's not old. He looked good in his last fight. So, like, he must think he's still got enough gas in the tank to do it. Kauê's never been tested that way. And I also think Kauê's never really fought anybody, not anybody at this level at least, who's had, like, the height and reach on him the way Jalin is going to. And I think that's an important note because when you're the tall guy, when you're the long guy, you're used to being able to hit without getting hit back. That's not going to fly here. Like, Jalen's going to touch this guy. So it's a close fight. It's a good fight. Lean Jalin here. Not confident, but lean Jalin. Narco, talk to me about this one, man. I love this fight. What do you make of this one?
Yeah, really good fight. I mean, the thing with Kauê Fernandes is you kind of touched on it. Like, the guys he's beating in the UFC, I mean, first of all, none of these guys that he got wins over are in the UFC anymore, right? They're all out. Harry Hardwick is literally a punching bag. And in that sense, he was a heavy bag for kicks in that particular fight, but he was a punching bag last time out against Rahiki, right? So, like, I don't know what to make of these wins because it's calf kick win. The Yaya win was all leg kicks as well. He also destroyed that guy's legs. And then the Guram fight, again, he destroyed Guram's leg. Guram was fighting on one leg that fight, you know? So it's like over and over and over again, this guy has these nasty low kicks. And they're
Jalen's legs are about this big around.
And they're literally destroying people's legs. Like they're just destroying legs. And he throws them very hard. What I noticed, one thing I wanted to see is because none of these guys are southpaws. So none of these guys that he's faced of late are southpaws. Jalin Turner is a southpaw. So I wanted to see what happens if he fights a southpaw. How does he throw from orthodox? You know, what kind of leg kick is he going to throw? Well, Harry Hardwick fight is the only one you could look at because Harry Hardwick got his lead leg blasted. He needed to turn southpaw. And what he did was he went southpaw and started blasting the lead leg. So he can clearly kick from both stances. So I'm assuming he is going to start off southpaw against Jalin Turner in this fight to try to kick the calf. The big difference is, like you mentioned, is that reach and size advantage. He's almost always been the longer and bigger guy in the cage. And I don't think he's 5'9", by the way. I think that's wrong on Tapology. I think he's more like 5'11" to 6 foot, this Kauê Fernandes guy. But he's still going to be at a disadvantage here against Jalin Turner. And I love the last version of Jalin Turner, the marauder, the guy that's just hungry to get the finish, man. Go watch that Barbosa fight and look at the difference in the killer instinct on Jalin Turner in that fight. I mean, he was not giving Barbosa an inch. He kept marching forward, just landing big shots until he broke him and finished him. And I like that version. If you remember, I was at UFC 300 when he dropped Moicano, right? Very bad. And walked away, and then proceeded to lose that fight because he walked away. There was no killer instinct. Exactly. There was no killer instinct there. And then, you know, he got finished his fight against Bahamondes, and he kind of initially right away goes, I'm retiring. Well, guess what? He's at one of the best gyms. He's at Bloodline now. And I like that move for him with Cub Swanson. I think that's a really good move out in Bloodline.
They're doing work at Bloodline, man.
They're doing work over there. And I think this version of Jalin Turner that fought Barbosa, if that's the version we're getting here, Kauê Fernandes is in for a very long night, man. So I like Jalin Turner here, honestly. I just think the level of competition, the experience, the overall like mixed martial artist that's better here is, Kauê Fernandes is a good kicker, but what else is he outside of just a good? I mean, that's all he does is literally chop people down with kicks in every fight. So, he's a great kicker, not only good. He's probably one of the best kickers in the UFC. I'll give him that. But there's not much else to his game. He's not a great wrestler. He's got good jiu-jitsu. I think he's a black belt, actually, but he doesn't really show it in fights. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just think the guy that's better here overall is Jalin Turner. Now, he just got to stay away from the calf kicks because he does have skinny legs. That is a little bit of a concern, but I do think Jalin can fight out of both stances as well. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. I do lean Jalin Turner. So, yeah, maybe straights, maybe he makes this guy pay when he throws a calf kick and just throws that straight right down the pipe and pop him one time really good where he makes him think twice about calf kicking.
Total's 1.5. Under 1.5 is about -145. What do you make of that? Because I
like the over.
You like the over? Okay.
I like the over because of the way Kauê Fernandes fights. He's more on the back foot, more a guy that's moving, kicking. I think that's the type of fighter you got in front of you. And Jalin Turner, yes, he can close the distance, but he still need to be careful not to get calf kicked, with this guy. He knows what this guy has. And Kauê does seem to be pretty durable, honestly. I don't think he's ever been finished. He's fought some really decent guys in the regional scene. So, yeah, I kind of lean over here. I don't think Kauê is just going to run through Jalin Turner. If there's anybody that's running through the other guy, I think it's Jalin Turner running through him.
I agree. The John Jones legs scare me. The skinny ass John Jones legs. I worry about a Sean O'Malley cut the nerve off type situation. It just makes me nervous. So I lean Jalin with you. I don't know how invested I'm going to be.
Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to mention. I didn't really mention it is Jalin Turner himself has absolutely terrific kicks himself. Great body kicks, great teeps. So he's going to be able to probably use them. Edson Barbosa himself is a great kicker. But you watch that fight and you see what Jalin was doing to him, to the body. I mean, those were some nasty body kicks and teeps that he was giving Edson. So that's another thing that could play in this matchup is like Kauai's kind of facing a guy that can kick really well as well.
For sure. Pepe in the chat saying, I think Turner's finish over Bobby Green gave him a little bit of PTSD in the Moicano fight. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Pepe. I have talked about that a couple times, and I totally forgot about it with how long Turner's been away. I completely agree with you. I think you're 1,000% correct. I feel like he almost he wanted the walk-off because he didn't want to brutalize another older man, and then it came back and bit him in the ass. Justin saying that's the killer instinct of having found God. And dude, that is so true. And there is nothing worse in MMA than your favorite fighter suddenly discovering religion. Because every time, dude, they lose their killer instinct. They don't want to hurt nobody. Some of them never recover from it. It's bad news. Again, personal level, happy you found something. But as a gambler, I'm like, no, can't trust you to get the.
But he was opposite. Anymore. But he was opposite last fight. He found God and was a marauder in the Barbosa fight, though. He was absolutely looking for the kill in that fight. It was crazy.
It's rare. Get it back. It's rare they get it back, but Jalin may have found that switch, man. Real quick, tangent here. The Man Cave says Rahiki's gonna put McMillan to sleep. You guys saw Noche. You guys gonna be right here in me and Narco's backyard. Hell of a card shaping up. Tommy McMillan got his wish. They're throwing him a tough kid. They're throwing him on the Noche fight, and that's a fucking barn burner. Do you have a top of the head early thought on Rahiki McMillan?
Man, that's such a good fight, man. Such a good fight because McMillan's going to come for blood for sure. And Rahiki's going to give it to him, honestly. He's going to give him that fight. He's an absolute warrior himself. I just think McMillan's got to be careful, man. Like, this is not, this is not the last guy, Montes, that he fought. This is not the guy that he fought on Dana White's Contender Series. This guy's striking is legit, and he's got big power, man. Big power. So I don't know how he's going to take the shots here the way he does normally. But, yeah, I mean, if you're going to look at durability, I mean, he's got it over Rahiki, But it's going to be an exciting card, man. Exciting card.
I'm telling you, Narco, I think that McMillan is doing almost exactly what Sean O'Malley did, where everyone hated him, wanted to bet against him, always trying to poke holes in his game, and he just continued to climb. I already pissed a couple people off because I was like, look, everyone's high on Rahiki. I am too. Like, don't get mad at me. I am too. I think there's a world where Tommy McMillan makes this look easy. He might just put him down with the first couple of shots. Rahiki is really good. He is not the most durable guy. And I don't think he'll be able to trade with Tommy.
I will say that I don't really rate McMillan's power, honestly. I don't think he has much power. I think he's more, death by 1,000 cuts type of guy. Mm-hmm. So he could still do that to anybody. Yeah. I mean, the volume is insane. I mean, let's be real. Like, that volume, if you don't put him out, I mean, how do you stop that volume? It's crazy.
You got to put him down. That's you got to. That's so good. Okay, we'll get back on track, you guys. We're talking way too many fights ahead here. The next one we got to talk about is Chidi Njokuani and Yoel Alvarez. We already talked about Joel a little bit earlier in the evening. He is getting settled in his new weight class up at 170 pounds. He was like the yin to the yang of Jalen Turner, right? At 155. These guys were doing the same thing, being size bullies down there. He's 1-1 in his last two. He's 33 years old. And it's interesting because I think a lot of us really just expected him to run through Vicente Luque. And he really kind of struggled in that fight. It almost made me question. I mean, I know he got the win, but he looked like it was competitive at times. It didn't look like his power translated. At 155, he was just killing people. People could not take the punishment that he was dishing out. And then Vicente really had no issues with it and took him 15 minutes. And then he gets Amosov and he gets diced up immediately. It's like, woof. So he's a size bully at 155. And maybe he just doesn't have the skills to hang with these guys that are big enough to handle the power and the physicality. He's got that nasty teep, that front choke he likes to kind of flick out there and attack the body with. He's got a real tight squeeze. He's got good elbows. He's another club and sub threat. I've always really liked Yoel Alvarez, but I'm not going to lie, Narco. My faith has been shaken. Chidi Njokuani is 25-12, 37 years old, 3-3 in his last 6. He looked really good at first, moving up to 170 as well. He went on a 3-fight win streak immediately, but he's dropped his last 2. Carlos Leal went to war with him, and Jake Matthews jumped on and climbed him like a tree and choked him out. He's got huge, powerful kicks, big knees, big elbows, really nasty Muay Thai, but he slows down pretty badly. He also sweats more than anybody I've ever seen. The big thing for me, Narco, here is I'm going to kick this one to you because I can't figure Chidi out. You guys, look at me. Look at me. Narco, just 1 second here. Look me in the... Do not let me bet on Chidi Njokuani fights, okay? I do. Narco, I don't get them right. I can't ever pick this guy correctly. So I lean ever so slightly with Yoel Alvarez to figure his shit out here at 170 pounds because he's younger, because they have kind of a similar dynamic, and he's got the grappling edge. I'm like, okay, I got to lean with Yoel Alvarez. But I swear, if I lay chalk on Yoel Alvarez, Chidi will be the dog of the week. People will get rich. It will be easy for them. I have to just pass this fight.
All right. I'm going to maybe make you a decision off of questions I'm going to ask you. Who is the better striker of the two guys?
I believe it's Chidi.
All right. Second question. How many takedown attempts do you think Yoel Alvarez has attempted in the UFC? I think in a total of 10 or 12 fights.
Ooh.
Without looking.
Total. I'll bet it's less than 5.
Takedown attempts. I'm not saying takedown. Attempts.
Yeah. I'll bet it's less than 5, maybe 3.
3. He only has 3 takedown attempts. And a couple of them were not even like the Jacasey one was a weird one. It wasn't even like a takedown at that, but somehow Jacasey missed on a spinning thing. He got his back and like kind of took him down, right? It wasn't even a real one. My point is Joel Alvarez doesn't really have wrestling at all. And I don't think he can take down. Chidi actually has good takedown defense, very good takedown defense. It's when he used to get tired right over the course of the fight, he starts getting taken down, right? So I think this is going to be a stand-up fight. That's my point here, is that I don't think this fight's going to hit the mat. And, you know, Chidi in a fight that doesn't hit the mat, and I get it. Last fight against Carlos Leal was an absolute war. 120 significant strikes to 115. He took bombs from Carlos Leal in that fight. He hit Carlos Leal with like 3 or 4 knees that I'm like, Carlos Leal is not even moving. I'm like, what is going on? What is this guy made of? This is a guy that died to the 42-year-old the fight before that. You know, what happened? So, yeah, my thing is like, I think this is a striking fight, man. And I think Chidi's the better striker of these two guys. He's a big underdog. Other thing is, Alvarez taking this fight on very short notice. You know, this is like a week's notice for Alvarez. I know he was out in New Jersey training with Makhachev. So they had brought him out. I don't know if you knew this. They had brought him out from Spain to New Jersey to give Makhachev the looks of a tall guy similar to Gary, right? So he was out there. He was out there in the Makhachev camp, and that's probably why he got the call. He already had the visa. He was already in the U.S., right? And the fallout happened. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's call this guy and see if he takes the fight. And Joel Alvarez took the fight. So, yeah, I think it's very interesting matchup because, you know, the last fight was kind of not fair to Joel Alvarez against Amosov. He's just too good of a wrestler. And we know Alvarez's takedown defense is not very good. I know he has got good jiu-jitsu, but when you have a great grappler like Amosov, you're kind of cooked on bottom. This fight's a little different. I think this is a stand-up fight. I think this is that's the other one very important aspect of this fight is this is the first time ever that Joel Alvarez is going to be the smaller guy in the cage against Chidi and Dukwani. So I kind of lean Chidi here. Again, I don't really have a bet here, but I know Chidi's up there in age. I think, what is he, 37?
37.
Which is not, yeah, I mean, that's not crazy.
Yeah, 37, 33. It's not wild.
And I have a question for you about Chidi. Don't you think that he's completely turned his career and cardio around at 170? This 170 cardio has looked completely different than 185. I don't know what happened.
That's what I was saying, Nargo. I keep betting against him. He keeps just kicking me in the ass. Like I thought he was going to be awful. He keeps winning.
Yeah. I mean, he's on a 2-fight losing streak, but I do think if this is a striking match, which I kind of think is going to be a striking match, I think he wins the striking, honestly.
Yeah. Man, the one thing that worried me, though, is you said that Joel Alvarez, 2 to 3 months and forget, right? Training with the Dagestanis for 2 months. No, I'm kidding. It would take much longer than that. No, but it looks like this line is really wide, man. Yoel is minus 250. You can get plus 200 on Chidi and Jokuani. I find the over 1.5 very interesting here because, like you said, this is going to be a stand-up fight. And yes, we have seen people like Jake Matthews jump on Chidi's back and choke him out quick and stuff. I don't think Yoel's going to do that. I don't see Chidi engaging in the wrestling to give Yoel an opportunity to hunt those subs. And so if we get a Muay Thai kickboxing style fight, I don't see why it doesn't go at least 10 minutes. I mean, I know both these guys have power, but they're both pretty tough too. So I kind of like the over 1.5 here. That might be an easy way for me to get away from a money line side, but that's just a lean for now, you guys. Let's keep it rolling here. Quick shout out to Spectation Sports. As you guys know, we run with Spectation around here, and you should get subscribed because they're picking up shows left and right. There are 2 shows coming up this week. LFA prelims are all live on Spectation Sports as well. Promo code DIEHARD will get you 20% off when you sign up. And not only that, you guys, but you're going to need it because we've got fighters all over Dana White's Contender Series. In fact, there's 2 of them, Narco, fighting tomorrow night. Abe Al-Sagir, a guy I've been telling you guys a long time was UFC bound, is making his Dana White's Contender Series debut tomorrow night. I am extremely excited to check him out. So if you guys are looking to tape study him, or if you just need more MMA action, please get signed up with Spectation Sports. Also, follow their socials. That'll help me out as well. A little feather in my cap. Tell them Clint sent you. It'll go a long way. We're back, you guys. It's UFC 330 Fight Week. I am joined by Narco Cop. Literally one of the best gamblers I know. I mean, we're talking top 3. I know you guys, I always shout out my boy Razor Sharp Picks. He handles all of my stuff, baseball, basketball, whatever, because I don't know shit. And then my boy Keg, the Sports Keg, he's the most phenomenal NASCAR bettor I've ever bet in my life. Number 3 is Narco. Like, Narco is the best gambler I've ever seen. His Discord is incredible. They are absolutely crushing it. And Narco, unless I'm mistaken, you might have a promo for the people in case they feel like jumping in and seeing what it's all about. You're muted, though.
I got a promo, but I don't even know I'm on the mic, huh? No, 25% off for the first month. Die Hard 25. I think you have the link down in the description.
In the description.
Yeah, it's been crushing it this year. Up like 66 units on all the plays that I've given out in the Discord. They're all tracked. A bunch of BKFC stuff. Me and Brandon Olivas is in there. We do a lot of BKFC stuff, and we've been absolutely murdering BKFC week in and week out. So, yeah, a bunch of PFL last week was great. It's just been a good year for me and everyone else in the Discord. So I appreciate the shout out. 25% off. Link down below if you want to get in and join it.
Hell yeah. You guys, they crush. Legitimately, they crush. I'm not in that Discord, and I was telling Narco about this. I was lamenting the other day. There's one reason and one reason only I'm not in that Discord, and it's because it's like a personal integrity thing. I didn't want people thinking that I was like stealing picks from other people, and I also didn't want other gamblers and handicappers, like their processes to like mess with my head. I want my stuff to be my own stuff. And so like Narco invited me to join like years ago when he first booted the thing up. And I was like, fuck, I can't do it. Because if Narco, if I turned my career around, like right after joining your Discord, people would be like, Clint, you're full of shit. You're only winning because you're tailing Narco. I couldn't handle that. So that's the only reason I'm not in there, guys. One of these days when I hang up the microphone, I will be joining Narco's Discord. So we'll get you in there with a discount. Make sure you check him out. And, of course, shout out our boy Brandon Olivas. Iceland Farts in the chat saying, are you profitable yet this year? No, Iceland, I'm not, because my win streak, while it's an impressive 5 weeks in a row, they're little wins. They're baby wins. So I still have a lot of work to do to get profitable for the year. If I was stacking, 5, 6, 7 unit wins, I might be close, but I'm not. They're little baby wins, but I got to tell you, it's still a step in the right direction. It's better than L's, so I'll take it. What's up, D? Good to see you in the chat, buddy. Appreciate you being here. All right, guys, let's wrap this up. We got about 4 or 5 fights to get through. Edson Barboza takes on Esteban Ribovics. We just talked about Edson Barboza. You guys just watched the clip of him getting killed. I think it's only fair to show the upside after watching him get, bloody murdered on the screen.
Just a big right hand. But Barboza finding the mark as well.
Barboza's landing. He's landing good. And here comes the kick.
Oh. Billy pushing forward though.
If Billy can keep this pace and keep...
Just killed him with a knee. That's what you're dealing with Edson Barboza, you guys. One of the most dangerous kickers the UFC has ever seen. Spinning wheel kicks, calf kicks. But that's the thing, Narco, he's always backing up. Like these days, he's always trying to walk you into something. And I feel like the book's been out on him for a while. Like people know when those big wind-up counter shots are coming. And he's a Brazilian balloon. He cuts a ton of weight. He's absolutely massive. He looks like he's 190 pounds, jacked to all hell, and somehow still cuts all the way down here. He's 40 years old. He's on a 3-fight losing streak, and he's been off for about 9 months after getting just massacred by Jalin Turner. The end of the road is near. He actually did an interview I saw just earlier today. The clip popped up that he's questioning this might be his last fight. He didn't specifically come out and say the R word, you guys, but as soon as the R word burrows up in there, I'm ready to bet against you with almost anybody because once you've got one foot in the grave in MMA, it's all downhill from there. You're not fighting with that same intensity when you get put in a bad corner. You're not fighting your way out, fighting for your life the way that you're looking, the way that you used to, right? A lot of stuff goes wrong as soon as you hit that point. And then you look at his socials, and he is insanely jacked, Narco. He's lifting weights. He's pushing big-time plates around in the gym. But he's like stroking out in his lifts. Did you see the picture where his eye is like halfway shut? It's the most insane thing. He posted it because I think, it's a lot of weight and he's jacked up with his abs. So don't get me wrong. He felt like he looked tough. But he's like straight up stroking out. His one of his eyes is like halfway closed and the other one is like dilated to fuck. Here, I got it. I'll show you guys. You got to see this. I don't know. You can't see it from here. Maybe I can zoom in on it. I don't know if it'll let me on Instagram. No, it's like auto resizing it. It's not going to work for me. Shit. Oh well, you guys got to. It's like his second or third tweet, Narco. You guys got to go look at it. He seriously is. His eyeball is like twitching in that picture. It's not a good look. So I think the end of the road is near for Edson Barboza. He's a legend. He's one of these guys like Darren Elkins last week that I feel like he hit legend status even though he never got UFC gold. He's been around forever. We love the guy. And the UFC is trying to build Esteban Ribovics on his name. Ribovics is 30 years old. He's 2-2 in his last 4. He's coming off getting hazed by Mateus Gamrot. Just smothered and choked out immediately in that fight. This dude's the volume king. If you let him go in that cage, he's going to do nothing but throw leather. Step on the gas, walk forward. He put over like 120 significant strikes in his last couple of fights, like 3 in a row. Not the one with Gamrot, obviously, because he got put on his back. He eats big shots, but he just returns fire. He'll take 1 to land 3, good straight shots right down the middle. He does a good job of mixing his kicks in. He's the guy that head kicked Terrence McKinney to death. This dude's good. I mean, I like him. I was super excited about him, but looking back on it, some of his stuff hasn't aged super well, man. The split decision with Nasrat, I felt like he won that fight, but again, it was a close one. The split decision with Zellhuber, that really doesn't age super well these days. So I'm not sure where Ribovics is as far as how excited about him I should be. And I'm not sure minus 520 is the right number. Now, he's younger. He hits hard. Edson is older and he's slowing down. I got to pick Esteban Ribovics, Narco. I have to, but I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned, honestly, for Barboza, just because, you talk about that eye thing, and it's been, I don't know if you've noticed, like, it's been slowly closing over time. Like that right eye, if you go back and look, like a couple of years back, it wasn't like that. And it's just slowly closing. The scar tissue keeps building up. If you see that eye, like there's a ton of scar tissue over it. This guy took I just talked about it. He took an absolute ass kicking to Jalin Turner last time out. Like, just punished him bad for as long as that fight lasted. And, he's still explosive. He's still swinging for the fences. And the biggest issue here is he's facing a guy that's super durable, has a crazy good chin, crazy toughness. It's just literally one of the worst matchups for him. Like, the chance he has is to land a bomb and potentially get him out of there, right? But, like, he's facing a guy that's, his chin is incredible. So it's like, even if you land the bomb, you still might not knock this guy out, and he's going to keep coming forward till he kills you. And he hits very hard. He brings a high pace against a 40-year-old now. It's just such a bad matchup, man. Like, I get it. It's the line's kind of big, but, man, one guy is completely washing Barboza. The other guy is young. He's hungry. If you don't give him a grappler, he's pretty damn good in a striking matchup against anybody just because he comes forward. He's so tough. He's so durable. He's got power. He's got a lot of cardio, and he's got very good volume. So he can put up a fight against anybody if they're just going to stand and exchange with him, right? And I think that's what Barboza is going to do. It's not like he's going to wrestle here. So, yeah, I think it's just one of those fights where poor Edson Barboza, first they give him Jalin Turner off his, comeback fight where he's hungrier than a lion. And now they're giving him this guy that's a young, hungry fighter as well. I think he should retire. I don't even know why he's taking these fights. Is he that poor? Like, I don't even get it. Like
I think these guys just can't give it up, man.
Dude, the amount of damage this guy has gone through. He's got he's got beautiful kids. You see him on his Instagram, a wife. Like, dude, what are you waiting to get CTE? I mean, I don't understand. What else do you want to do? Like, you have no chance to win anything anymore. You're getting paid. I get it. You're getting paid a good amount. Go coach. Do something else. You're a great fighter that knows a lot about the game. Go coach. Go open your own gym. I'm sure he'd be successful just with his name, opening his own gym, right? Teaching striking or whatever. I don't understand some of these fighters that like, especially like last week, man. That was sad to see. Why are you even fighting, Elkins?
Yeah.
You can't take a jab, let alone a punch, you know? I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, Ribovics going to find him. He's going to knock him out. I'm pretty confident he's going to knock him out.
Probably so. I didn't want to lay 10-1 on Yadir Del Val. I don't really want to lay minus 500. But yeah, I think we know what's coming. Unfortunate. It is Old Yeller season, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we've got Mansur. Oh, you know what? Real quick, pump the brakes. Shout out my man, Timothy Kopfinger. What's going on? Thank you so much, my friend. Says, keep chopping away. Thank you for the donation, my friend. The love and support means the world to me. Let's try this again. Mansur Abdul-Malik takes on Dustin Stoltzfus, my boy, my mangy, hairy dog. I love Dustin Stoltzfus, Narco. I've always had a soft spot for this guy. He's 34 years old. He's 2-4 in his last 6. And I feel like he's always been underrated. Now, I know he's got the losing record. I know he's kind of fighting for his life at all times in the UFC. But first off, he's a good guy. He's always been kind of a nice guy. He's got a decent wrestling pedigree. He's a BJJ black belt. He's very dangerous when he goes to the mat. And then his striking has been improving like steadily over the course of his UFC career. And I never really thought of him as a power guy. And then one day he just pulled this shit out of his hat.
Oh, gets the full mount here. Now he can start to go to work, but still, nice job from Barry to use defense.
That's why I don't like going the full mount. And now here we go.
This is where Barrio thrives. Stoltzfus obliges and knocks him out. Dustin Stoltzfus with a thunderous punch.
He talks.
Dude, I never saw him knocking out Marc-Andre Barrios. That was the most insane KO. He is stiff as a board. And no, not Marc-Andre. I mean, Dustin. The way he's throwing those hooks like a Rock'em Sock'em robot, swiveling at the hips to get them in there. He's got power if he manages to land on you. You look back and he was beating both Gerald Meerschaert and Rodolfo. And then he got tired in round 3 and got caught by these high-level submission guys. Abus, memed him out with that first round 1 front kick when he made his UFC debut. So he's had a really tough go of it in the UFC, but he's always fought really hard. He's a dog. He'll fight for your money. He just is, unfortunately, one tier down on the skill platform, right? Mansur Abdul-Malik is 9-1-1. He's 28 years old. He's so far 3-1-1. Since Dana White's Contender Series. He had that weird draw with Cody Brundage where they were 1-1 going into round 3. And that ended up being a draw because of the cup kick situation. And Narco, I swear that feels like a fraud check to me. Go into a draw with Cody Brundage because you're afraid to let your hands go against Cody Brundage. It's like, what are you doing, kid? And then the UFC fed him to the wolves. They gave him the layup spot against Cody. And when he flopped on that, they were like, all right, fine. Here's Yusri Belgari. Fuck you, kid. Right? So he's big. He's physically strong. He's got really good wrestling. That's always in his back pocket. He stays heavy on his feet. But he's a blunt force trauma guy. He basically football tackled Antonio Tricoli when he took him down. There's not a lot of technique going on here. He just hits really freaking hard. This feels like a spot where the UFC kind of wants him to get right. And I really want to support my guy. And I really wish I was strong enough to find an angle to bet against Mansur Abdul-Malik. Even understanding that I feel like Dustin Stoltzfus is better in almost every aspect of this game. It's like Mansur's bigger. Mansur's longer. He's the better wrestler. He's physically stronger. So Jiu-jitsu is the one thing Stoltzfus is going to have as far as an advantage goes in this one. And unless Mansur just completely shits the bed, I don't see how Dustin finds a way to like top position, for example. I think Mansur can kind of like stay heavy on his feet and do like the Chris Curtis and like jab his way to a decision if he needs to here. It's gross. It sucks. Minus 575 Mansur Abdul-Malik. I hate it. Lean over 1.5. I got to pick Mansur to win, man.
Yeah, I mean, I had Usuri last time out. I liked Usuri a lot. I thought, I kind of thought he was going to touch up Malik on the feet. He's just a better striker. He's longer. I think it was a bad matchup. One thing I will say, in this fight is I kind of feel like Mansur's coming back a little too soon. That was a bad beating, man. Like a really bad beating that he took. I know he's young. I know he's athletic and stuff, but man, he took a punishing beating in that fight. Got dropped in round 2 really bad. The fight should have been stopped. And then he came back to round 3 and took another bad beating until he got flatlined right on his face. So I feel like 4 months is not enough, honestly, after a beating like that. But luckily, he's not really facing a guy that's like some accurate striker or big hitter, even though somehow Dustin Stoltzfus knocked out Marc-Andre Barrios. I still to this day do not know how that happened, but it definitely happened. Maybe he was having CTE from that Pfeiffer knockout. Probably that's might have been what it was, but Stoltzfus historically has been very durable himself. Takes big shots pretty well. I think he has been knocked out, once or twice or whatever, but he's not easy to knock out.
It's usually a cardio thing.
What is it? Yeah. I think he's the ultimate bag fumbler, though, man. Like that Ribovics fight was so winnable, and I had him on the money line there. And the way he got reversed twice, it was so painful when he had great position on top. And then last fight against an aging old Gastelum that's really not good, he kind of just got picked apart, dude. Like it was a bad look for Stoltzfus last time out. So, yeah, I mean, the problem here is like Malik is going to be so much faster, so much more athletic, so much more explosive, wrestling advantage. Like you said, maybe he can wear on him. But even then, one thing I've noticed about Mansur, the shots that he took from Usuri, who hits hard, those knees, I mean, he's got an incredible chin. Maybe it's cracked now after that beating, but I really don't see many paths for Stoltzfus. Is he going to out-wrestle Malik? I don't think so. It's really not many paths I see for him here. So, again, huge favorite. I don't really feel comfortable with this type of favorite, but I think he wins, and it's a pay-per-view card. You know what happens in pay-per-view cards.
Chalk City.
City.
It's always Chalk City on pay-per-view cards. The one thing, Narco, if I can poke just the smallest hole in here, like you said, he's coming back really quickly from that knockout. I gotta wonder how losing his O affects him. Some guys, one of my favorite stories, Brandon always talks with Coach Santino about this. And I think it was Felipe Nova they were talking about, where they were like, one of the guys felt invincible. And that was his superpower. He was not the best guy in the room. He won fights he shouldn't have. And it's because he had that insane self-belief in himself. And then he took one loss, and he was never the same ever again, because he suddenly didn't believe anymore that nobody can knock me out. He didn't believe anymore that I'm the best in the world. I'm going to beat everybody. I'm curious how Mansur mentally rebounds from this one. So this is your PSA spot for the week, you guys. Like, I do think that Mansur wins this fight, but I'm not touching minus 500. We'll see. Love that fight. I'll be rooting for Dustin Stoltzfus. Next up, we've got Charles Energy Johnson taking on Jose Ochoa. Absolute banger of a fight here for us, fight fans. I love this one. As you guys know, this is a Charles Johnson podcast. We love Charles Johnson here on the show. 35 years old, 3-3 in his last 6. Narco, I can't win on him. I pivot at the wrong time every time on Charles Johnson. In fact, I pulled the rare self fade in his last fight. I went, you know what? Literally everything in my brain and my heart is pointing me to Charles Johnson is super live in this fight. And I went, I don't know shit. I've zigzagged wrong on Charles Johnson for 2 years. I'm fading myself, and I bet Asu Almabayev, and guess what? That shit worked. So I am in self-fade mode with Charles Johnson fights right now, you guys. He's alternating wins and losses in his last 6, and it's just crazy. He's doing the thing again that got him in trouble in the beginning of his UFC run, where he's not prepping right. He's not super healthy. He's turning around super fast. He wants to get that bad taste out of his mouth after taking an L. And you can see things are just kind of slipping. But at the same time, when he's at his best, dude, he's got knockouts over Loner Kavanaugh and Josh Van, like the hottest prospect in the division and the actual champion. This dude knocked them both out. It's insane what he can do when he's on. He knows how to use his reach, love his cardio. He's got good counter grappling. And unless you're one of these super high level guys, usually like Asu is the first one to sub him, right? So he never gets submitted by anybody. He's always able to counter grapple and get back up to his feet when he needs to. It is concerning, though, that his last 2 losses are both finishes. He'd never been knocked out before. He'd never been subbed before. Now he's getting finished at 35 years old. It's starting to worry me that if he's going to lose, it's probably ugly instead of being a split decision like it used to be back in the day. Jose Ochoa is 25 years old. He's a shoot-the-box kid. He's 2-2 so far in the UFC. His losses, similarly to Loner Kavanaugh and Asu Almabayev. There's some, MMA math to be done here. This kid is a violent prospect, Narco. I must see TV. Crazy aggressive. Mean in the clinch, big looping overhands. He pulls that left hook. I mean, he just melts people. Absolutely melts people in the clinch. Knees to the body. I love watching this kid fight. You know, he got taken down early against Cody Dern in round 1, and he kind of did the same thing Josh Van did, where he just refused to fuck off and then eventually put him away.
Yeah,
Dude, I love this Jose Ochoa kid. And I'll be honest with you, Narco. I know you're a Charles Johnson dude too, and we try to be nice to the guys we're friends with, especially when it comes to the breakdowns and the betting and stuff. I think he's going to get knocked out in this spot. I think Jose's going to hurt him.
Yeah, I mean, I like Charles Johnson's a good guy. I think he's doing himself a disservice, though, man. Like fighting like this, where he's got to cut weight, fight after fight after fight. I mean, this is his 4th fight in 2025. He's turning around within a month and a half after getting, I mean, he was easily, getting ragdolled basically by Asu Almabayev in that fight. The one fight that concerns me more than all of them is his actual win. His actual win versus Bruno Silva. He looked very hesitant. He didn't want to throw, backing up a lot against Bruno Silva, something that he normally doesn't do. He's on the front foot. He's the one pushing the pace. But he was on the back foot a lot in that fight, shelling up against the cage. I did not like to see those visuals from him. And quite honestly, I think it is one of these spots where, he's getting a little bit older. He's fighting so often, it's not easy on the body. I don't care how much you prepare, how much you do stuff, weight cuts, at 125, at 35 years old, on a guy that's not really small to begin with, a 5'9" guy at flyweight. It's not easy, so now he's fighting a young, hungry guy who hits very hard, has nasty body kicks. He won't wrestle, which will, kind of help Charles Johnson, right? I think that's one of the things that maybe can help him because it's just going to be a purely striking matchup. He doesn't have to worry about the wrestling like Asu or guys even like Alex Perez. He doesn't have to worry about the wrestling in this fight. It's probably going to be just striking. But the more durable guy at this point in their career looks like Ochoa. The guy that hits harder looks like Ochoa. One thing I will say, I don't know how this will affect fighters or not. But, coming from that camp of shoot to box with a big loss in Alan Nascimento,
Ooh,
God rest his soul.
I didn't even think about that.
I think it's very important to look at, who's around this guy. How was the training? How has the training been this past 2 weeks? It can't be easy. Oliveira's probably not there. Oliveira's fight got, he pulled out, and I'm pretty sure it's because of that. It could affect some fighters a lot more than others, and we just don't know, what that will do to a guy like Ochoa. I don't think it's easy. Listen, you have to remember one thing. This guy's a 25er, and I'm pretty sure he trained with Alan Nascimento, who's also a 25er all day, every day. So they could have been very close. We don't know, right? These guys still have to fight and put food on the table. They need money. We just don't really know where his head is at. And that's my biggest concern, actually, in this fight for him, is that, the camp is kind of broken at the moment. One of the guys that's been there forever, someone that was really, really close to Charles Oliveira, I don't know. Yeah, that's the only thing. Jose Ochoa, he's kind of new there, Jose Ochoa. I think he's only been there the last 3 or 4 fights, I would say. It's not like he's been there years and years, but still, I'm pretty sure this guy was training with Nascimento every single day. They're in the same weight class. I'm sure they were training.
So he just put a post up a couple of days ago, and I just ran it through Google Translate. So bear with me if this is off a little bit, you guys. He said, I have no words to describe this moment. I only know that everything you represent will always remain in our hearts. From the moment I arrived at Shoot the Box, you were my role model for how I conduct myself, both as a person and as an athlete. I am and always will be a fan of yours, brother. A big hug from heaven. So yeah, that, Narco, is an incredibly valid point and something that I did not even think about. We've talked about this a couple times, you guys. Some people dealing with tragedy and pain like this, it's a wind in their sails, and they go out and they get a win for their boy, and it pushes them, and then other people crumple under the pressure. I think, what was it, Mark Madsen? He got choked out after his dad died. And then the one that always stuck with me was when oh my God, I can see his face, but I can't remember his name. He got the hair transplant that made him look ridiculous. He came out and got like a round 1 TKO. Jiu-jitsu guy with tattoos, the 2 lines that go down his back. You're muted.
Damon Jackson.
Damon Jackson. Thank you. Yes, Damon. That was the one where like Damon lost somebody and he came out like a bat out of hell. So be careful, guys. This is a dice roll more than it was before. I didn't think about that, and that makes me want to stay completely away from this fight. Now, if I'm grabbing my ball sack and I'm fading myself, I should be betting Charles Johnson at plus 330 because I'm picking Jose Ochoa to win. I don't know if I can do it, you guys. I don't know that I can get to the window. I will say the way Ochoa fights and the way Charles Johnson has been fighting and the volatility of his fights where he's been getting finished and stuff like that, this 2.5 is juiced to the over. I would be tempted not to bet the fight not to go the distance, Narco, because I think Jose might throw caution to the winds here and win or lose. Like, I think one of these guys might get hurt and finished.
I mean, do you remember when he got rocked by Cody Durden when they were swinging along the fence? Like, he was
already a wild man.
He absolutely got buzzed by Cody Durden in that contest where they were swinging. So his chin is good, but it's just kind of concerning that, with the fight camp stuff, I don't like, it's kind of a guess, I don't like to really cap my stuff like that, but man, that's something that's I mean, it's a big thing.
It's
a really big thing. So yeah, I'm probably going to stay away from the fight myself. I don't, I like Charles Johnson too. And it is, and by the way, it's happening the same thing in the main event. I don't know if you knew that, but the same thing is happening with Ian Gary, because he's from there as well.
I did not know that. I forgot, because I do make that. You know what? It's funny. I always put in my notes that he's training with Charles Oliveira, and I didn't do 1 + 1 = 2. That it's training with Charles Oliveira at Shootbox. So that, that's a valid point as well. Something to keep in mind. Would it shock you guys, if we got another skullet added to the pile on Saturday because he knocks out yet another like dude that he should just have no business having a KO win over. He's already done it to Van. He's already done it to Kavanaugh. Like we'll see. He might end up being, if I have the balls to fade myself for one unit at plus 300, Charles Johnson would be the way to go. You guys, it is the co-main event of the evening. Mackenzie Dern takes on Gillian the Savage Robertson, and it is time, ladies and gentlemen. We have been on the Gillian Robertson train for years. Narco, I went back and I posted, I don't know if anybody saw this on social media. I posted 6 years ago. You guys, I've been doing this podcast now for 7 years. And I thought I was going to be Ariel Helwani. I thought I was going to be like, getting tight with the fighters. I'll be like a James Lynch type guy, whatever. So I started like trying to do interviews with fighters, and only 2 of them ever gave me a shot. I talked with Juan Adams, who still follows me to this day. Super cool guy. Didn't really work out in the UFC. And I talked to Gillian Robertson. And Narco, it was before I was even doing video. It was an audio-only interview with Gillian. And it was terrible. It was just awful. And not because of her, because I had no clue what the fuck I was doing. But I've been a fan ever since. And of course, my my fanship of Gillian is where the joke of me being in love with Gillian came from, because my chat harassed me endlessly about it and I steered into it. But so we've been fans of Gillian for freaking ever. And I can't believe the moments here. She's finally got a title shot. I was worried this day would never come when she got knocked out by Macy Barber. But she's rebounded. She's the all-time finisher leader in women's MMA in the UFC. It's insane. I'm so excited to sweat this fight for her. As you guys can tell, there's a lot of heart equity in this one. So please, I'm extremely biased in this. Mackenzie Dern is 16-5. She is 33 years old. She is a world-class Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. That's what she did before she came to the UFC. She was like women's Rodolfo Vieira. And she's really fallen in love with her striking. To a fault, almost, man. She lost to Jessica Andrade by knockout, and she lost to Amanda Lemos because she doesn't know how to wrestle. She decided she wanted to learn how to strike. And I've always said, if she would go train with Daniel Cormier for a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, Dagestan, forget. No one would ever beat Mackenzie Dern. If she could wrestle with her jiu-jitsu, she'd be so good. But she fell in love with her hands instead. And she looks really good. She's got fast hands. She's got decent power. She's got good boxing. I like the combos. But I almost feel like the UFC's been protecting her a little bit. They've been giving Amanda Lemos nothing but grapplers to keep her away from the rematch for the title, right? Like that. They could have served that one up easily, but the UFC decided not to. Dern does really well against other grapplers, man, because she is just a level above them when it comes to the scrambles and things like that. Gillian is 17-8. Ever since she dropped a weight class, she's been a really solid size bully. She also has a bit of a wrestling deficiency. She's worked on it, I feel like, more than Mackenzie has. She's more willing to offensively wrestle than Mackenzie does. But you go back not that long ago, and I remember like the Tabitha Ricci fight. I think that was her first fight down at 115, or the second fight down at 115. And she couldn't move her. She's just this little ball of muscle. Gillian could not move her, could not get her down. Now, it's worked on pretty much everybody else. But you're seeing, fighters like Marina Rodriguez, right? And we know Amanda Lemos jumps Gillian, then gets stuck on bottom, can't grapple. I know Gillian will be able to hit takedowns on Mackenzie Dern. And Dern, frankly, will welcome those takedowns, Narco. But what worries me is this is a 25-minute fight, and Mackenzie Dern has a huge striking advantage here. And she may be the first person that Gillian has faced, frankly, in her entire UFC run, at least in the last several years, that is better than her at pure jiu-jitsu. So I think she's got the wrestling advantage. She might have the physicality advantage. But Dern, I think, is going to have the speed advantage, the striking advantage, and potential the grappling and scrambling advantage. So again, as much as my heart is screaming, I want Gillian Robertson to win this fight. You guys got to go head over heart here. Like, you're going to see me posting Ann New and shit like that all week because I'm rooting for my girl. But I think Mackenzie Dern is going to win this fight, Narco. And I wouldn't be surprised if she knocked her out. And that hurts to say.
How about the 5-round aspect? I think that's very important. I think one girl has fought 5 rounds multiple times. The other ones never had a 5-round fight in her career. So I think that's kind of important too. You know, I think Dern has the cardio edge here as well. I've seen her in crazy fights where she just somehow has cardio in round 5. Like she just has really good cardio. And the other thing is like you mentioned, you know, yeah, she's fallen in love with her striking. I think that might be a good thing in this fight. You know,
in this fight, yeah.
I think she might be the better striker of the two. Yeah, Gillian could take her down, but I also think Dern could take Gillian down. I don't think that's out of the realm where you see Dern on top of her. And the one thing I will say is like watching back that Ricci fight, right, against Robertson, and I understand, you know, Ricci's kind of built like a brick house for women, but I still don't think her grappling game is anywhere near the level of Mackenzie Dern, right? So, like I think if Dern gets on top, it could be some trouble for Robertson, because I don't think she's ever had anybody like this on top of her, you know? So as far as the other way around, I think she has had a girl like this on top of her in Verna Jandiroba, who in my opinion might be better than Gillian Robertson as far as pure jiu-jitsu is considered, right? So yeah, I mean, you know, we've seen some glimpses of Robertson kind of, you know, looking shaky in the grappling against, like we said in that fight against Ricci, but nothing really happened. Like Ricci is not very good with control. She's not really a submission threat for the most part, you know, even
though her pay either.
Yeah, she's not going to make her pay, which, you know, that's the other thing in this fight. And I don't know if you knew this, but last fight against Lemos, this is very important. If you listen to Gillian Robertson's post-fight interview, they asked her, you know, you looked a little bit like you were, you know, you hurt because if you notice when she was walking in, she didn't look right. And I said it in my Discord. I'm like, guys, Gillian Robertson is not walking right. Something is wrong with her walking into this cage. And the first kick she took from Lemos and she kind of switched stances. It was weird. She still won the fight. But afterwards, they asked her and she said that she has arthritis in her hip. That is not good. You know, and if you go back and listen to the post-fight press conference, that's where she says it. She had arthritis in her hip and she's had it for, I guess, a while. I think that's very important here because, you know, if there's a lot of grappling, you're facing a really, really good grappler here. You know, you don't want something like that. You know, obviously Lemos is Lemos. She will pull guillotine and do all that stupid stuff. But I just think these are a couple of important points. You know, first 5-round fight, a girl that can match her in the jiu-jitsu, if not better than her in the jiu-jitsu in Dern. Yeah, I mean, I can't fade Dern in this spot, honestly. I just feel like she's the better striker. She can match the jiu-jitsu. She's got 5-round cardio. I don't really know. I mean, I'm not saying Gillian has bad cardio. I don't know if she has 5-round cardio in a lot of scrambles, in a fight where she's not going to just be able to lay on top of someone and do what she wants to do, right?
That's the question.
So Dern's going to make her work. That's guaranteed. She's going to, you know, go for a leg, do whatever she needs to do to get a sweep, maybe end up on top. That's the other question. What happens if Dern's on top? I don't really know. Honestly, I really don't know. So, yeah, it's an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight. Some red flags with Gillian with that little thing that she has going on, but I'm going to go with Dern. Ultimately, I'm probably not laying this price, but I feel like this is a Dern fight to win, man. She's better striker, better jiu-jitsu, arguably. I mean, she's one of the best in the world when it comes to jiu-jitsu. So maybe just the physicality in wrestling could be on Robertson's side. But I think, to be honest, like watching Verna, I would say the physicality is probably right there on par with Gillian, right? Verna's a very physical girl. She grabs a hold of you. You're going down, right? And she's built like a brick house. So yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. I think this is a spot for Dern to retain her title. Even though Even though I have a ticket on Gillian Robertson to be the champ in 2026 at like
Oh shit.
60-1. Yeah.
What a call, man. I didn't even have that ticket. I'm the Gillian
Yeah.
Robertson guy, and I didn't even click that one. That's crazy.
Yeah, I have that ticket, but
That's gonna be a
unfortunately,
nice hedge out though, man. Minus 200 for the favorite.
yeah, but here's the problem though. If she wins, don't you think she might fight again?
Yeah, we got
It's
4 months. Yeah.
4 months. That's what scares me, that it's not really a hedge spot. Let's say the fight goes, no one gets injured, she might fight again. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe not, because I forgot that towards the end of the year, they don't really have a lot of cards towards the holidays.
Mhm.
So maybe not. Maybe
Well,
not.
is Zhang coming back? I mean, I feel
That's
like
the other thing. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know.
I think she'll sit out and wait for Zhang though. Don't you think? To like unify the belt. Maybe that'll
Yeah.
kick off 2027. Like
Yeah.
you might get a little lucky
I
with
think the
that
next one would probably, because it's a title fight. It's already August 15th. It probably would be and in 2027. I think it's safe. You're right. Maybe a head spot.
Might be a spot to lock up a little bit. That's beautiful either way, man. That's an amazing bet regardless. It's close.
Let me actually look at it. I think it's 55-1, not 60.
That's a crazy number, dude.
Yeah, I don't even remember when I bet it. It was sometime early or end of last year.
I've gotten close on
50-1. Sorry, I'm wrong. 50-1. 50-1.
Still
50-1. I actually bet it December 15th of 2025. Yeah, so it was the end of last year.
I've not had a lot of success with futures, man. I've gotten close a couple of times. I've gotten robbed 2 or 3 times as far as like the end of year card. They book them for January instead of December type of thing.
Yeah.
So I've been close. I've never been able to catch. So that's crazy to be sitting on that one. Rooting for you, man. Rooting for you. Real quick, shout out. Thank you, Steph, my friend, for the dono. He says, Clint, I super chatted last week and said Foro, Tai, Alexia, Souza, they were all anchor worthy. I'm saying this week, Orolbai would be a great anchor. And you're probably right. I'm not unretiring the anchor just yet, though, guys. I got a little win streak going. We haven't hit it big. I can't get crazy bringing the anchor back. We're going to one of these days, Narco.
Wait, what does Dan tell you? Best fight picks? Clint, wait a second. Wait.
See, the problem is he's so hot and cold. I get always trust your balls. He'll throw that one at me, and then he goes, Clint, no,
wait a second, Clint. Don't do it.
Oh, I fucking love Dan, man. It's the worst feeling in the world when somebody you respect sees your bet and is like, no. Oh my goodness. All right, guys, main event. It's so funny, dude. I love the community that we've built, that people feel comfortable like coming after me that way. It's fun. It's what it's all about for me. Islam Makhachev and Ian Machado Garry for your main event of the evening. Pound for pound legacy and welterweight gold is on the line. Narco, I will make no bones about it. I have always been an Islam Makhachev hater. He's 28-1. He's 34 years old. He might be the pound for pound best. He might be the all-time GOAT. Like, I just have never believed that he was the same as Khabib. And the fact that, his second fight in the UFC, he got knocked out in the first round, like, that's always stuck with me. And then even recently, like, I'm sorry, I'm going to be that guy. Like, I'm going to poke holes in this guy's legacy because his best 2 wins at 155 during his all-time title reign were the 145-pound champion, man. Like, he fought Alexander Volkanovski back-to-back, and his worst fight, arguably a fight that he lost where he got pushed the hardest, was the first Volk fight, man. Volkanovski almost beat that guy. Like, I have such a hard time looking at this and being like, okay, he got pushed all the way to round 5 with Dustin Poirier, a guy who Khabib... He's in timeout.
Timeout. How about Charles Oliveira win? Come on.
I mean, I'm glossing over Charles, but I was going to get there. Charles always has been a little chinny. And that's where it's like, he clipped him with a big shot and put him down. Like, no disrespect. I'm not taking anything from Charles. That's a great win. But the fact that he chinned him is like, oh, anybody can chin Charles. That's always been his thing. He's a little chinny. So, I mean, again, it's good wins, man. Dustin Poirier is good. Charles Oliveira is good. But back-to-back wins against a 145er. And then fucking Renato Moicano out of nowhere. And the fact that he's got his second belt, it's very Conor McGregor-esque, taking out Jack Della, the weakest champion you could have at 170. Jack Della's getting his ass whooped by people now. Like, don't get me wrong. I love Jack Della. He's a good fighter. He's awesome. But he's losing to the real contenders at 170 pounds now. He's on back-to-back losses. Like, I don't think he beats Michael Morales. He got knocked out badly by Carlos Prates. Like, it's not an impressive win to take the belt at 170 pounds, in my opinion. I think the top three at 170 are a problem for Islam Makhachev. The thing is, I don't think he's ever going to fight them. Like, I think he's going to do this disappearing act that they always do. He'll get his second belt. He'll defend it once. He'll be the pound-for-pound all-timer. Maybe they'll give him one more softball. He's already telling guys like Michael Morales, hey, you got to fight one more time, kid. You don't get the next title shot. Like that. They're already like, no, we're not doing this. I'm not going to fight you. I hate that. It pisses me off. So I think his run for being the GOAT is incredibly soft. Now, I don't want to say anything negatively about his skill set because he does have good striking. He does hit hard. He's a big dude, especially at 155. He was massive. He's a very good wrestler, obviously. He's a good jiu-jitsu player. So, like, he's a very, very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I'm just not ready to crown him the pound-for-pound GOAT. And frankly, I'm not even sure I'm ready to say he's better than Khabib was. I know a lot of people are like, obviously he's better than Khabib. I don't know that he was. Khabib's resume was stronger, in my opinion. Now he's taking on everyone's favorite punching bag, right? Nobody likes Ian Machado Garry. Ian Garry got a big highlight reel head kick knockout against D-Rod back in the day, and then stopped finishing people. He's been to decisions ever since. The thing with Ian Garry is he's fucking smart, dude. It's high fight IQ. He's tall. He's long. He knows how to stay behind the jab. He's got good takedown defense. He's making people shoot from way outside. He's very tactical the way he fights. And that makes it boring for casual fans. That makes it not fun for some people because he's going 25 minutes. You know, this guy is always going to go 25 minutes. When he started training with Charles Oliveira, Narco, I was hunting those sub props. I bet him at 10-1 every single fight he was going to get that sub. And the last time I finally gave up because he had both Michael Page and Carlos Prates like several times where he should have gotten the fucking choke and he still couldn't figure out how to sink it in. I was like, I give up. He's like, I was raving about it, telling people we're going to cash a massive sub prop one of these days. Watching those two? No, never. It's not going to happen. I quit. So Ian's training at Shoot the Box, and we already mentioned they suffered that big loss over there. So how is that going to affect him? I'll be honest with you. I don't think it's going to affect Ian. I really think Ian is locked down mentally, Narco. He seems like the type of guy who is mentally tough, who is dialed the fuck in, and he's like delusional to the point of thinking he is the best fighter that's ever graced God's earth, no matter what happens to him. And that's the kind of thing that I think he can block out anything like an emotional situation. So I don't think it's going to affect Ian Machado Garry the way it might affect some other people. But this is a really, really great fight because I do think now that you take the size bully aspect away from someone like Islam, I think he will struggle somewhat at 170 pounds to just be the bully dominant grappler the way he always has been. I think we've seen Islam. Well, I don't think I know. We've seen him clipped and hurt on the feet a couple of times before. We have seen him knocked out. So he is not the greatest striker. You go back to that Dustin Poirier fight, and he was busted up and bloody, man. He was exhausted in round 5. And he gets like a desperation single leg on Dustin Poirier. And then he dives on the neck, and he gets the choke, and he manages to finish him. It was a hell of a finish. But that was a war. And deep in round 5, he was starting to fade. So we've seen him not have like impervious 5-round cardio. He also can get tired. He's human. Pushing these big bodies around up a weight class, I don't think it's going to be as easy as people are expecting. I think Ian's extremely live here, Narco. I think he's extremely live here in this fight. I think he's going to keep the distance. He's in the big cage. The footwork will matter. And I think we've got both guys who are more than capable of going full 25 minutes and just grinding when they need to, unless Islam is able to find his way to the back and like choke out Ian Garry, which working with a guy like Charles, I expect Ian's submission defense to continue to be on point the way it has been his entire career. I think he can at minimum survive. So I kind of like the over 4.5. I think this fight goes the distance. And at plus 270, I am very, very tempted to bet on Ian Garry. What do you make of this, Narco? Talk to me, man.
Yeah, I'm not fading Islam, man. I honestly think he's pound for pound one of the best fighters ever. I mean, look at his striking, man. His striking is really, really good. It's improved so much. Everybody said last fight, oh, he can't stand with Jack Della, blah, blah, blah. He was actually outlanding Jack Della in the last fight. I know he got the takedowns. I know that's there. But you have to remember one thing is everybody is going to feel the threat of the takedown. And when that happens, your hands start working, your kicks start working. And Ian Garry's going to be the same thing like everybody else. Yes, I like that he moves well. I like that he's athletic. I like that he kicks. But he also has major flaws, man. And one of the major flaws that I see over and over and over on tape is him getting clipped with his hands down all the time. Bilal Muhammad missed like 4 or 5 big right hands, just barely, because Ian Garry was pulling out of the pocket with his hands completely down. And he does that over and over again. And he's been dropped and he's been hurt very bad. He dropped his hands against Kenan Song and he ate a left hook that nuked him down to the ground. And, you know, you could say that Makhachev's chin is not the best, but I think Ian Garry's chin is more dodgy than his because he's been hurt multiple times in multiple different fights. And do you remember, was it Dana White's Contender Series against Williams or was it the first UFC fight? He got hurt very bad in that fight. Yeah, so it's my thing is like he gets hurt in a lot of these fights and he's getting clipped and he got hurt against Prates and you know, Prates hits hard. Don't get me wrong. But the thing in this fight is that I don't think a guy like Makhachev is just going to sit on the outside and let Ian Garry do what he wants to do. He's going to get pressured, and he's going to get pressured back hard. And I feel like it's going to look a lot similar to the Jeff Neal fight where he was getting pressured, and he was not liking it, and he was getting backed up to the cage. And Jeff Neal did clinch him up in the cage in that fight multiple times. And you know, one thing I don't like about Ian Garry that I've seen in a bunch of fights is that once you clinch him on the cage, he kind of gets stuck there for a long time. And I think that's a really bad thing against a guy like Makhachev, right? The other thing is like people are looking at that Shafkat fight and say, you know, it was close. And I agree. It was actually a pretty close fight. Shafkat won 3-2, right? 48-47. But Shafkat came into that fight with a very bad knee problem. And it was clearly stated afterwards that his knee was messed up when he went into that fight. So he couldn't really grapple well, you know, and he was having trouble grappling Ian Garry in that fight, you know. Plus, if you watch back that fight, Ian Garry did something really, really smart. That's a big weapon of his. It's that oblique kick that he uses all the time in all of his fights. And that kick is much harder to do when you're facing a southpaw, and he's facing a southpaw now. He's got to go to the opposite leg because Garry always uses his back foot to oblique kick. He doesn't use his front leg, but he uses his back leg to oblique kick that front leg. And he's going to have to kind of go on the opposite side to do it. It's not going to be easy because he didn't really do it against Jeff Neal. That's what I noticed against a southpaw. He didn't really use that oblique kick, which he loves to use. And he loves his front kicks. And they're a really good weapon. And it probably would work against the orthodox fighter that's a heavy grappler. But Makhachev is obviously southpaw. I don't think it works as much in this fight. And I just think, man, you know, I know he was tired against Poirier. Absolutely, you're right. And he got busted up with that elbow. But we saw when what's his name grappled a lot, Ian Garry against Prates, how tired he was in round 5, right? And I do think there's going to be a bunch of grappling in this fight. There's no doubt in my mind that there is going to be a bunch of grappling. And I think the better grappler, and I think the guy with better cardio, to be honest, in a grappling type of fight is going to be Makhachev. So Yeah, man. I mean, this guy is just the truth, man. He's good at every realm of fighting. He's fought, Volkanovski's a 45er, but he's one of the most skilled fighters you'll ever face in the entire UFC as far as skill for skill, grappling, striking, movement, right?
He's another pound for pound guy.
Yeah, and he's seen it. He's seen it. And I get Gary's bigger and longer, but I also think Gary's not as good as Volkanovski when it comes to grappling and anti-grappling and, stuff like that. So, and I get it. He's a 45er. This guy's a 70-pounder. I get it. But Makhachev is very, very strong, man. If he gets his grip, his hands together, it's going to be Gary going for a ride, in my opinion. He's going to be taken down. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great matchup. I'm not discounting Gary like he doesn't have a chance. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But I just find it like a big, big uphill battle to be a guy like Islam, man. He's so good. You just need a guy that's just, I guess, like a great wrestler with excellent cardio and just very good striking to beat him. And there's not many of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I hear you, man. I feel you. I think Ian is live, but I'm not so sure I want to go so far as to say I think he wins the fight. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be tight. I actually kind of like that over 4.5. I want to see what the spread comes out at. I'm curious if we get like a 7.5 or something on Ian Gary. I think he could make it very competitive. But if it's close, I don't think they're going to rob Khabib's boy. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I want to go quite that hard on it. We'll see. I'm very, very tentative on this on this main event fight. That's UFC 330, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Narco, my man, thank you for making it work. Thank you for hanging out with me late so we could break this bad boy down. It was awesome. Tons of info, you guys. I'll get timestamps up for you as quickly as I possibly can. Narco, my friend, if you have anything coming up, shows, sponsors, your Discord, whatever you might want to plug, my man, I appreciate the time. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It was a great show. Great breaking it down. I haven't been on here for a long time. I actually have to bring you on the Lambeau Place podcast as well. You haven't been on for a minute there, but yeah, I'm doing one.
The green screen last time I came on.
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while, so I got to bring you on pretty soon here. This week, I'm actually having an early show on Thursday. It's probably going to be early on Thursday, not very early, but like 6 p.m. Eastern because it's my anniversary, Clint. 17 years with my beautiful wife. So shout out to her.
Happy anniversary, man.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a Thursday pod this week. I am going to do a full card breakdown potentially tomorrow. But yeah, happy to be here. Dana White's Contender Series is up and rolling. Me and Brandon did do a show earlier today. You caught it. You came on. So I appreciate you for coming on and giving us a shout. But yeah, every week we're going to do that Dana White's Contender Series every Monday. Narco Cop MMA YouTube channel. I appreciate everybody. Good luck this weekend, and let's cash those tickets.
Hell yeah. You guys, Narco's Discord is in the description below. There's a link. There's also a discount, you guys. He's doing you a favor. Check it out if you want to get involved. Thank you all so much for coming through and being here. We almost got to 400 live viewers across all platforms. We moved the show time, so I know a couple of people probably missed us. We usually would get a little higher than that, but it was an awesome one. Of course, this week we'll be back with the Total Takedown, Clint's Hot Props, and on Friday, the Undefeated Post Weigh-In Show. I'm going to leave you guys with a little piece of wisdom. Just remember, it is better to have parlayed and lost than to never have parlayed at all. Bankroll management, ladies and gentlemen. Be smart about your bets. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. This is for fun. Hope you guys kick some ass. Let's keep the win streak rolling, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Love you guys. Peace out. Let's roll.